And welcome to Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We are so glad you're here. This is an interactive news show, and we are streaming this live on Fox Local, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We want to hear from you. We're in the comments. We're monitoring them. If you have anything you want to say, just join us there, and we will try to answer your questions. And we have a busy news day, and we want to start with the Colin Gray trial, and that's in Barrow County. He is the father of the accused Appalache high school shooter. He faces more than 24 charges, which prosecutors say all stems from him allegedly giving his son Colt a rifle despite knowing he was a danger. This morning, we heard from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation special agent who interviewed Colin Gray in the hours after his son allegedly opened fire inside the school, killing 4 and wounding 9 others. You can see her on the stand right there to the right side of the screen. Colin told investigators he had custody of his son Colt and described months of escalating aggression, including physical fights and what he called bull rush attacks toward him. Investigators say Colin admitted he purchased the rifle Colt allegedly used as a Christmas gift in December 2023. He acknowledged concerns about Colt's mental health, saying he had contacted counselors and exchanged emails with the treatment facility just a week before the shooting. Colin said Colt himself believed he might need to be institutionalized, but no treatment ever happened.
I know what happened, and I'm upset and sad, but I'm really pissed because that kid, man, like, this is so wrong. And he is just, he's been feeding us a whole bunch of, yep, I want to get better, we're going to go to the thing and talk to his grandmother, like, hey. So I just stuck my head in there and called his mom and said, well, stand by. Yeah. I said, because his AR is not here. Okay. And then y'all started beating on the door. Yeah.
And so that was that interview that GBI agent did with Colin Gray in the hours after the alleged attack at Appalache High School back in September 2024. And days before the shooting, Colin says he noticed an image of Nicholas Cruz on his son's wall. That's the admitted Parkland, Florida mass school shooting. Right now, they are on a lunch break. We're following it, and we'll have the very latest just as soon as they come back from lunch. Let's continue on this Tuesday afternoon. I want to talk about the Nancy Guthrie case that has gripped this nation. She is still missing 24 days into this search for her, and they are trying everything to track her down. Today, we now learned that Today Show host Savannah Guthrie is offering a $1 million reward for the return of her mother. She posted the video message on her Instagram page this morning. You're looking at it on the side of your screen right now. Savannah says her family is holding out hope that Nancy is still alive, but they understand that may not be the case, and they accept that. Here's a portion of that emotional message that she posted this morning on social media.
She may be lost. She may already be gone. She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves and is dancing in heaven with her mom and her dad and with her beloved brother Pierce and with our daddy.
Just incredibly heartbreaking to have to hear that message. You'll recall 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was last seen at her home outside of Tucson, Arizona on January 31st. Authorities believe she was kidnapped. The FBI released surveillance videos of a masked man outside her front door on 2 separate occasions. Experts believe that means the kidnappers were casing her home ahead of time. Obviously, if you know anything, you are asked to reach out to the FBI. Again, $1 million reward for information that brings her home. Another story we're tracking has to do with something that's happening tonight in our nation's capital. President Donald Trump says he has a lot to talk about tonight. He's returning to Congress to deliver the State of the Union address. It's an annual event that brings together both sides of Congress. He's expected to discuss the economy and the cost of living, his crackdown on immigration, foreign policy, and of course, last week's Supreme Court decision striking down his far-reaching tariff policy. And we should mention that 2 of the justices he appointed ruled against him in that ruling. We're obviously following that. You're going to hear the full address right here on Fox Local, Fox 5 Atlanta, and fox5atlanta.com. Afterwards, Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger is set to deliver the Democratic rebuttal. And let's get a check of the day's top stories that Fox 5 is working on. We have a number of reporters out in the field right now. Let's bring in Fox 5 assignment manager Tanya Mendoza. She's standing by at her assignment desk. Tanya, I know you're in contact with everyone. What's one of the biggest stories we're following right now?
Hi, Tyler. That's right. We have several reporters out in the field working on different stories. Let me start with Doug Evans. Doug Evans is over in Coweta County working on a follow-up story regarding a school bus theft. That's right. On February 9th at Arbor Springs Elementary, a school bus was stolen. Basically, it was stolen outside school hours and no children were injured. They found that school bus over in Temple, Georgia with the help of the Temple Police Department. And as you know, Tyler, all school buses have surveillance inside, and they were able to see these pictures of this woman who allegedly stole the bus there. You can see great pictures from the surveillance. They put that information out, and after we actually aired the story and local media aired the story, they received tons of phone calls with tips. And it was through tips and the investigation that they have announced they made an arrest. They're talking to Doug Evans about this today. What we still don't know that remains a mystery is how she got the keys to the school bus and why she stole it. But that story will be updated today by Doug Evans, and we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to know why you're going to steal a school bus, so hopefully we're able to get those answers from Doug when he talks to investigators. So another story we're working on also has to do with transportation in a way for people, and this one affects a lot more people.
That's right, Tyler. One of the biggest problems that we face every morning here and afternoon is traffic on major highways in Atlanta. So over at I-20 West and I-285 South, this flyover interchange, they're working on the second largest GDOT project ever because that area is the sixth worst bottleneck in the country. So construction's going on right there, and they're setting up beams for new flyover ramps. That work's beginning this week for the flyover ramp beams that are going up. This is a major milestone. They say that this is minimal impact traffic while they're working on this during the day. Actually, I don't know if you just heard that sound behind me, but that was our radio. We were talking to our chopper to try to get some aerials of this area as well. So we'll have that video later, but that's what Kevin Stewart's working on. I do want to mention that starting in March, expect overnight traffic pacing on I-20 between Fulton Industrial and H.E. Homes in that area as they continue to work on that. Kevin Stewart will have the latest later today.
Yeah, progress is going to mean some temporary pain, but hopefully we can, in a few years' time, that's going to be a nice area to go through because currently when I've gone through there during rush hour or pretty much any time of day, it's just a nightmare. For people who may not be driving that side of the thing, that side of our area, we obviously have a story that might interest them with Kirk Cousins.
That's right. We have some breaking news at the NFL Combine. Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins' tenure with the Atlanta Falcons is coming to an end. They are releasing him as of March 11th, and that came from a press conference out there with the general manager of the Falcons, Ian Cunningham. We do have, I want to mention, Georgia Chambers and DJ Shockley from our sports team out there at the Columbine, and they are following that story closely. Not only that, but there's several players from Georgia. 300 of the best college football players, are invited to the Columbine, and they basically go through physical performance tests and interviews, and they meet general managers and other people from major NFL teams. This is all leading up to the NFL draft. But I want to mention, UGA has 10 players that were invited, Georgia Tech 4, and Georgia State 1 player. So that's big news, and our sports team is following that closely. Tyler?
Yeah, and so obviously that's something that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in hearing about because they're hoping for a turnaround. We have the new people in charge of the Falcons, the new GM, the new front office staff, and people are really hoping for a good season.
Definitely big news, and people in Atlanta love the Falcons, so I'm sure everybody's going to be watching all the new decisions closely to see what's in store for the next season.
Let's talk about something tasty.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I like how you said that. Okay, finally, this story I love. The lemon pepper legislation Yes, that's happening at the state legislative session right now. State Representative Eric Bell of Jonesboro is presenting House Bill 1013 to officially designate lemon pepper as Georgia state chicken wing flavor. Can you believe that, Tyler? There's a hearing taking place today at 2 o'clock before the Special Rules Committee, and that's what they're going to be discussing. So I don't know if you knew this. I didn't, but apparently the flavor was made famous by J.R. Crickets, founded in 1982, which is widely credited with bringing wings to the forefront of the Atlanta food scene.
Have you tried J.R. Cricket's lemon pepper wings?
I have not, and I've been here for 20 years, so I guess that's something I need to put on my Atlanta bucket list.
I ordered them during the Super Bowl one year, so I have tried them. They are as good as they sound. If they're the original creators of it, they were pretty good.
Well, maybe I can pick up some for us to eat one day for lunch, Tyler.
Yeah, you know, you should. Tanya Mendoza at our assignment desk, thanks so much for tracking the stories that we are following today. I do appreciate it. Let's bring you back into our studio here. Obviously, we are monitoring a lot of different stories right now across our viewing area, but we also want to talk about something that a lot of people are going to be interested in. That's the weather. Let's take you live outside above Midtown Atlanta. You can see the beautiful weather out there. Good news if you hate the cold, we should be getting a little relief from the frigid temps in the coming days rather. Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Alex Forbes is standing by with me. Just joined me here at the set. Yep. I think hopefully it's not as cold as it was, but hopefully it's not as warm as it was last week. We need something in the middle.
Right, and that's what we've got for the weekend. 72 by the time we get to Sunday. Last week was a little much, right? 80, we're like, okay, it's February. Yes. A little early for that. But I tell you what, past couple mornings have been cold. This morning was cold, and now we're warming up through the afternoon. Here we go with 46 in Atlanta, 43 in Griffin, 46 in Covington. Not only are we warming up, but the wind is relaxing. It's not gone completely, but we are still holding on to a wind chill in many locations across Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. I tell you what, Bryce, if we could hit graphic 7 there, this will tell you your wind chill. There you go, 44 in Atlanta. 36 in Canton, 39 in Gainesville, and 41 over in Athens. So even though the wind has relaxed, it is still around, and that is prompting a high fire danger today, which means the combination of the dry vegetation, the low humidity, and the winds means any fire that is started can unintentionally spread relatively easily, right? You never intend to burn the neighbor's yard, but maybe you will today. So don't do it. Avoid burning today across Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. There you go into the afternoon, getting into the 50s, the low to mid 50s under mostly clear skies here in the metro area. And you ready for this? Sunset tonight, 6:30, continues to get later and later. Now, we are only 12 days away from daylight saving time beginning, which will put sunsets past 7:30. So that's less than 2 weeks, something to look forward to. Tomorrow, pretty cloudy across Metro Atlanta and North Georgia, 42 in the morning, 61 there in the afternoon under mostly cloudy skies. A couple of sprinkles, wouldn't rule them out entirely, but I don't have a rain chance really for tomorrow. I do most definitely, though, for Thursday and Friday, particularly Friday morning. Looking for showers and maybe even a couple of storms, and that is going to set the stage for a wet Friday morning commute. I think the bulk of the heaviest rain will come through before most people head to work and school, but we will be left with some residual heavy showers by the time we get toward really Friday mid-morning hours. Clearing out for the afternoon. Just cut out the weekend, frame it, hang it up in the Louvre. 68 on Saturday, 72 on Sunday. Morning's not too bad in the mid to upper 40s. Feeling pretty nice here in Metro Atlanta.
Just got to get through the rain. You can't really complain about that forecast.
Right.
Alex, thank you so much for the update. I'm sure everyone appreciates it. This is Heart Health Month. Obviously, you know it's February. And a good time to remind you the risk associated with heart disease. We're talking to an expert just ahead. Stay with us. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We're so glad you're sticking with us. If you know the month right now, it's February, and that is obviously Heart Health Month. That is a big thing. You know, a lot of people are wearing red. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death nationwide, and here in Georgia, many of the risk factors are tied to habits people can change. Joining us live is Courtney Schauder with United Healthcare to talk about what Georgians can do right now to protect their heart health. Courtney, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk about it so people can hopefully maybe make some changes. Why is it so important to talk about healthy heart living?
Well, you know, when we think about caring for our heart, that's essential to long-term well-being. And as you said, it does remain a leading killer. So we want to remember that there are a lot of risk factors that are modifiable through our lifestyle choices that we can focus on.
Okay, so when we look specifically at Georgia, how do our heart health challenges compare to what's happening maybe around the country?
Sure. So United Healthcare partners, and we put out America's Health Rankings. So we're looking at lots of fantastic geographical data. What we're seeing in Georgia is that 29% of adults meet the federal physical activity guidelines. So that's not quite where we want to be. We could be higher. When we also look at sleep as a risk factor for Georgia, we saw that 38% of adults sleep less than 7 hours per day. That's also an opportunity for improvement. And when we think about chronic disease, we know that it can be a major health burden. And these areas about lifestyle and weight, these are areas where people can take action.
Well, and so when people think or hear heart health, it can be overwhelming. I know people may not want to go to a doctor or cardiologist specifically to be able to maybe get that check that you probably should be getting because you could have a risk factor that could put you in danger. What are some like things that people can do lifestyle-wise that maybe can put them maybe less at risk?
Right. Well, and as you said, that PCP, that once-a-year check is going to be a great baseline to understand where your heart values are and your measures are. But you can really focus on the lifestyle factors related to your diet, even just small changes that can be sustainable related to adding fruits and vegetables. I like to think about what can we add to our intake instead of taking things away. So first, if we can focus on adding in whole grains or fibrous foods or nuts, those are all going to be healthy for our heart. They're going to be lower in those saturated or trans fats, and they really help prevent high cholesterol. Also, avoiding alcohol entirely is now shown in research to be optimal for maintaining and improving our overall health. You can also think about healthy body weight. You know, there's not one particular right number for everybody, but if you do have modest, weight that you are carrying around, even making small improvements in that can provide better relief on your body in terms of your blood pressure and your cholesterol. We hear a lot about movement, getting some of that regular physical activity. 150 minutes is the goal for moderate intensity activity weekly. So that recommendation is coming from the Surgeon General to support our heart health. And if we can get our kids and teens moving for an hour a day, that amount of activity is going to be ideal too.
Why does physical activity and sleep matter so much for heart health?
Sure. Well, when you think about sleep, if you're getting inadequate sleep, that's going to impact your mood throughout the day, your motivation to go out and take that walk, or the energy you might have in your gym class. It can also really impact your hunger and your fullness levels and kind of lead to cravings. It can put people in the position where they might be choosing quicker energy, more highly processed foods that carry some of those saturated fats. So they're all connected in ways that we might not always think about immediately.
Courtney, I really appreciate your time today. We could talk about this all day, but all of this is vitally important information for people to understand. Courtney, I do appreciate your time, and thank you for being here for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock.
Thank you for having me.
I do appreciate it. As we come back into our studio here, I want to try to change it up a little bit and talk about another thing a lot of people are talking about. You know, we talked about the Falcons earlier. Let's talk about the World Cup. We're just a matter of months away before 8 matches are going to be happening right here in Atlanta, and we are getting ready for all things World Cup in soccer. World Cup Atlanta host committee ambassador Kevin Egan gave our Natalie McCann an update on some of the players and also got schooled a little bit. Let's take a look.
To soccer and the playing conditions here in North America. I mean, from the temperatures that we have, the altitude to the travel distances. I mean, do you feel like it's some of the most extreme playing conditions in the world of soccer?
This is it. I'm glad you bring it up because I think I'm European and I'm here to admit that I think us Europeans are really soft. You know that? Because when the Europeans come here, we don't understand the heat. We don't understand the cold. When you've got to travel to go play in like a Denver, Colorado, the folks struggle with the altitude. The U.S. travel, obviously, we had MLS Cup in December, and we had Vancouver travel to Miami for MLS Cup, and that's the same as going from London to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, for example. So the extreme conditions here, I think, will be evident for a lot of people at the World Cup. Now, the World Cup was here in 1994, and I remember so well seeing the Irish players with the hats on so that the cap was covering their neck. They had the sunscreen all over their face, and the conditions will be hot. But it does benefit one place, and that is Atlanta, Georgia. At the Benz, of course, we have a dome, the most phenomenal stadium in the world. So hopefully Ireland can play in Atlanta. We've got a playoff next month, and if we do, the Irish fans can enjoy the air-conditioned stadium that we absolutely need.
Yeah, Atlanta, kind of that dream scenario for everybody. Let's talk a little bit, Kevin, about Colombian superstar James Rodriguez just signing with Minnesota. Are you starting to see more global stars rushing to play in MLS before the World Cup?
It's just incredible right now. And Natalie, we say James Rodriguez. That's the Colombian superstar. He's absolutely brilliant. He's lit up the world's game for so long now, and now he's chose to play in Major League Soccer with Minnesota United. A stunning move. Antoine Griezmann is now heavily linked and on the verge of signing with Orlando City. Antoine Griezmann, a World Cup winner. You're seeing images of James Rodriguez here. He won the Golden Boot at the World Cup in 2014 when he broke onto the scene with, I'd say, maybe the best World Cup goal we've ever seen against Uruguay. This guy is so loved in the city of Atlanta with the Colombian community. He's an absolute hero to these people, and now he's playing in Major League Soccer. Griezmann from France too, and with that, it's impossible not to notice this. When I look at global followings for sports stars playing in North America, Major League Soccer now has 3 of the top 5 athletes playing in North America in terms of global following. Lionel Messi is the second most human being on the planet after Cristiano Ronaldo, also a soccer player. Messi has 511 million Instagram followers. LeBron James is in second place, Steph Curry in third, and then you got James Rodriguez and Luis Suarez as well. So Antoine Griezmann, these players, Son Heung-min is with LAFC now, the most popular sports athlete from Asia. So it's just been this huge move with the World Cup on the horizon. We're seeing these mega superstars coming to play here in North America, and I think it's only the beginning. I think it's really going to push on afterward, after the World Cup, when these players see the stadiums, see the atmospheres, the conditions, the facilities. I think they're really going to want to come here and play in North America.
Kevin, I feel like when you say that too, when people here in the U.S. hear that Ronaldo and Messi are the 2 most followed athletes in the world, that kind of surprises people.
Well, think about, let's say Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has 6.5 million Instagram followers. Cristiano Ronaldo has over 100 times the following of Patrick Mahomes. And again, I think that just simply hammers home the popularity of the global game that's coming to Atlanta with 8 games at the World Cup. We've got a World Cup semifinal that will be viewed by billions of people around the world. You see the Super Bowl figures, and the World Cup is just going to blow it out of the water. So it's just an idea for people watching at home, just how big the World Cup is and how big some of these mega stars like James Rodriguez with his 51.7 million Instagram followers, for example. That's not including, obviously, all the other platforms that he has as well. These are huge, huge stars that'll be in Atlanta for the World Cup this summer.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about soccer school. It's our soccer school time, learning more lingo as we get ready for this World Cup. What you got for us today, Kevin?
I mean, so last week we worked on it with Nutmeg. I thought we did a great job in studio. Nutmeg and Clean Sheet were worked on last week. This week I am going to go. I've got a couple that I think they'll be kind of tough for you here. Olympico. Olympico is the first one. What do you think Olympico is? Now that we've been in the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, what is Olympico for you, Nadia?
I mean, winning, another name for winning the title or something, winning a championship. I don't know.
This is tough. Olympico means scoring from a corner kick. So scoring directly from a corner kick. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it's intentional. We've seen the great Lionel Messi do this in his career as well. So Olympico is when you score directly from a corner kick. What about, here's another one for you, and you'll probably get this. I'm hoping you get this one. The 12th man.
Oh, I know. Supporters or fans, right?
Yeah. There's 11 players for each team, and so the 12th man usually refers to the supporters and how great they can be for a team. The 12th man obviously is very important for every nation, and we have some great support. The likes of Haiti, playing the World Cup for the first time since 1974. Hopefully Ireland are here as well, and we will absolutely have the 12th man if we're playing at the Benz.
And what do you think about the support, that you've seen from soccer fans in Atlanta? I mean, I would say arguably some of the best, right?
Yeah, no question. I've been part of Atlanta United. I was the original play-by-play commentator on Fox Sports South when Atlanta United broke onto the scene in 2017. We smashed every record imaginable for fans. Straight out of the gate, the attendance at the Benz was absolutely phenomenal. And the wave of momentum behind the 17s in Atlanta was just so infectious. It was such a beautiful thing to be part of. And the team hasn't been great in recent years, but I think with Tata Martino back, Atlanta United will be far superior than what we've seen in recent years. And with that, I think the World Cup too will help galvanize the fan base once more, because the fan base here in Atlanta, when Atlanta United were winning games in 17, 18, 19, second to none, and now we need to galvanize that group again and get this team back winning.
Kevin, you're leaving your mark here in Atlanta as well. Tell us real quick just a little bit about the pub that you guys are opening by Mercedes-Benz, you and your family.
Yeah, appreciate it. The Irish Exit, it's what it's called. We're working with a great group out of New York called the Dead Rabbit that have won World Bar of the Year a few times. And we're bringing modern Irish hospitality to the city of Atlanta. It's a nod to the past, of course, but it's also a massive appreciation to the hugely successful Ireland that exists today. So craft cocktails, a great pint of Guinness, beautiful hospitality with friendly people. And we're going to be steps from the Benz. My friend Pierce White is running the show there, and we're working so hard with CIM Group and Centennial Yards to make sure that we're ready to go for the World Cup that kicks off here in Atlanta June 15th. So early June is our goal. The Irish Exit in downtown Atlanta. Cannot wait to welcome everybody in.
I'm obsessed with the name. That's so perfect, Kevin.
And let's take a live look at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which in June and July will have a different name for the FIFA World Cup. It will be known as Atlanta Stadium, and Fox 5 Atlanta will be your home for all of the World Cup coverage as the players take the field here in Atlanta and across North America. And we still have a lot more ahead here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. It's been a little more than a year since former President Jimmy Carter passed away. We are checking in with the Carter Center to see how his legacy is living on. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. It's been more than a year since former President Jimmy Carter passed away, and his mission of peace, health, and human rights continues through the Carter Center. Joining us is Paige Alexander, CEO of the Carter Center, to talk about how President Carter's legacy is being carried forward. We talked to her a little earlier today. Let's take a listen. Paige, thank you for being here. More than a year after former President Jimmy Carter's passing, how do you describe this moment for the Carter Center?
You know, it's President Carter lived through a lifetime that truly is remarkable, and our experiment in democracy that he saw in Plains, Georgia in the 1920s is very different than what we're experiencing now. And so I think that living in his legacy, as he always talked about, adjusting to changing times and holding true to unchanging principles, that's what the Carter Center is continuing to do for both he and Mrs. Carter's legacy.
And President Carter was very clear about what he wanted the Carter Center to stand for. How do you ensure that his vision continues to guide the decisions today?
You know, what President Carter wanted was a healthier and more peaceful world. And so that is what we continue to do. It's the North Star of everything that we've worked on, from global health to peace and democracy and conflict resolution. And so those are the tendencies that the he leaned towards both in his presidency and in his post-presidency, and we continue to build on.
And so what are some of the most impactful projects the center is working on today, and what do you think would make Mr. Carter proud?
You know, as he talked about adjusting to changing times, I think that where we were in 2020 when I first came in and when we had these conversations, it was building on a 35-year legacy at that point for what the Carter Center did around the world, whether it was election administration and monitoring in 125 different elections in 40 different countries. We started looking at how do we hold the mirror up to ourselves now? How are we in the United States participating in this, as Lincoln said, experiment in democracy? And so we're doing a lot more domestic work now than we had previously, but we're still fighting diseases and working on neglected tropical diseases at the far corners of the world in South Sudan and Mali and places that looked a lot like Plains, Georgia back in the day.
What does that domestic work look like right now? And what is it? And what are the projects?
So it looks, our domestic work looks a lot like the conflict resolution work we do in Sudan and Mali. We're now doing it in Georgia and North Carolina, trying to bring polarized sides together to have conversations, because at the end of the day, people are just people, and being able to have those conversations. We're also doing election monitoring in 5 different states. We're doing it in Georgia, Montana, New Mexico, Michigan, and these are Nevada, and these are places that if Georgians want to get involved, they can go to cartercenter.org, observe, and you can sign up to be an election observer here in Georgia.
And the election monitoring, is that going to be something big in the next few months with the midterms coming up?
You know, there is so much talk about sowing distrust in election integrity and really questioning voter confidence. And I think we've seen this here in Georgia. The raid in Fulton County, the FBI raid, really sought to question what happened 5 years ago. And I think Georgia showed up in droves in 2020. We had over 5 million voters come out. They found a way to vote in the middle of a global pandemic. And then we watched the votes be counted. 3 separate times they were counted. And so we have been part of that process. Sometimes it's a little like watching paint dry to watch an election administrator do their job and count the vote over and over again. But if that's what it takes for people to understand how our democracy works, we at the Carter Center want to be there, and we encourage people to participate and get active in their local communities to do this kind of work.
Obviously, voting is a civic duty. Do you think that's going to be vitally important to open people's eyes to see how the inner workings of an election actually go on? And I mean, you said you do it in a number of states.
Yes, well, again, we've done this in 40 different countries and over 125 different elections, and I have seen it here in Fannin County, I've seen it in DeKalb, I've seen it in Fulton. It is important for people to understand how the process works. When you put your ballot in a ballot marking device, it is going in, it is being counted, there's a QR code, there's no little man in the machine changing your vote, and the names are on the ballot as well. And so being able to participate and understand how our democracy works and how people's vote counts is a really important part of being a participant, being a good American citizen, and being involved.
Paige, we could probably talk about elections all day, but I want to talk about something that was near and dear to former President Jimmy Carter's heart, and that is guinea worm. I saw the headline a couple weeks ago. 2025 saw the lowest number of human guinea worm cases ever recorded. I think it was only 10 cases, and 10 cases according to my notes here. And the Carter Center is saying that it's the closer than ever to eradication. How exciting was that to be able to get those numbers and hear this news just a little more than a year after his death?
Well, President Carter said he wanted to outlive the last guinea worm, and we are so incredibly close. When he decided to take this on as a moonshot, that he was going to eradicate a disease, literally only the second human disease ever eradicated, the first one being smallpox, and that was done with vaccine. And so when he took this on, we had guinea worm in 21 different countries, 3.5 million cases, and we're down to 10 human cases. We are so close. And the things that we are learning about how to eradicate a disease by continuing to run through this program has been remarkable, and they'll be beneficial for all parasitic diseases. So anything at the end of the road, we now have a way to look at how we solve this so people aren't debilitated from these neglected tropical diseases.
Will you find another tropical disease to go after if you can get that down to zero?
Yes, we're working on 6 of them now. So preventable blinding diseases, eye blinding diseases like trachoma, river blindness. We work on malaria, schistosomiasis. These are President Carter used to say the diseases aren't neglected, the people are. And so that's why we're at the end of the road working on these diseases, because what happens there matters to us. Borders are porous, black flies that pass diseases don't just stay in one place. And so we need to know how to solve these diseases, and the Carter Center is continuing to work on all 6 of them.
How has public support here in Georgia and around the world changed since President Carter passed?
I think people have become so polarized, and when you start questioning, we work in science, we work in epidemiology, we know what we see under a microscope, we know what happens when a black fly crosses a border, we know what happens when water gets infected. And so I think the difference is that people need to know what they're seeing, and they need to believe what they're seeing. So facts matter. And so for us, that is all we are doing. We do not call balls and strikes on the election field. We just make sure the field is set so every batter gets a chance at bat, and we don't decide what diseases are important and unimportant. We decide what we see. If that's affecting a community, we try to find a way to address it. And so I think people just need to be active participants in getting factual information.
And finally, I want to give you the chance for a call to action. How can people honor former President Jimmy Carter's legacy going forward?
There's so many ways to do it. My current favorite is the 39-mile walk challenge, because I think a lot of us sit around and listen to bad news all day, and it's important that you actually take agency and have your own responsibility. Get out, walk. Remember that Mrs. Carter felt that mental health was an important part as well as physical health, and take that 39-mile walk challenge and do it to make sure that you're participating, you're an active participant. And if you go to the Carter Center website, you can see other ways to donate and to volunteer to be a Georgia election observer or any of the other states we work in. We welcome people coming by the center. It's a real jewel here in Atlanta, and we encourage people to come by.
Paige Alexander, CEO of the Carter Center, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
And now it's time to get a check of the stories that are trending right now on fox5atlanta.com and Fox Local. Let's bring in Sam Daniel, one of our digital content producers and digital journalists, with a look. Sam, your first story has to do with a local Cobb County school and a change up in leadership.
Yes, so this is a story about the principal named Jill Spiva. She was arrested back in January, but Cobb County Schools has now told us that she has stepped down from her job. So the district said that she resigned, and it came after she was arrested on January 8th. Officers responded to a crash around 4:45 p.m. at Ebenezer Road and Sandy Plains Road in Cobb County. According to officers, when they got there, they had a feeling that Spiva was drunk. They tried to administer a field sobriety test, and she wouldn't allow it. So they got a warrant to take her blood alcohol level. Turned out she was drunk, according to officers, so they have now charged her with DUI, several other traffic violations, and she resigned effective immediately. The date isn't clear, though, so we're working to learn more about what day she resigned, but we learned about it this week. And the school said that they are focusing on the Addison community and its future, so we are working to learn more about that.
So with her out of the job, or her leaving the job, do we know who is now the principal?
Yes, so the district did not publish it, but when I went to the Addison Elementary School website, Brett Ward is listed as the interim principal, so that is who has stepped up. There is no picture on the website right now, and when we went and looked previously during coverage of this, Brett Ward was not listed on the school's website, so it's unclear if he's connected to the school or if he was placed in after Spiva's arrest.
Okay, so obviously a lot of probably parents are going to be interested in that one. What's another story that's trending right now? And this one has to do with, I think, some animals.
Yeah, it's a horrible boarding case out of Chatsworth, which is up in Murray County.
Okay.
70 dogs right now are facing euthanasia if they are not adopted by Friday. They're at the God Only Knows Animal Rescue. They have all these animals because there was this strain from the animals, and they were mostly hounds and hound mixes, found earlier this week. When they were found, the shelter only had 11 open kennels. Now they're over that at 70. So the influx has really brought this strain onto the shelter, and they're hoping to get as many adopted as they can by Friday. They're looking at mainly licensed shelters to adopt because a lot of the hounds are really young, and so they don't want to give them out to the general public, but there is some availability for the general public to adopt these hounds. If you're interested, you can message the God Only Knows Animal Rescue on Facebook.
They are so cute, these dogs. All of them look, some of them are smiling. They deserve to be adopted. Is that Friday deadline able to be extended at all, or is this really going to be cut and dry? We know Friday is going to be the day that they really need to have new homes.
So the way the shelter wrote it is that there is no pushing the deadline because they have a contract or some sort of deal with the county, and with this amount of influx, they're not able to work with the county and keep bringing in dogs that are still being found in the county. So they have to have some sort of room. So if they can't get the dogs out, the 70 dogs are going to be euthanized.
That is incredibly sad. Hopefully someone's able to make it happen, or another shelter can help them out to be able to give these dogs a new leash on life instead of leash on life, and they can actually have something positive come out of this very terrible situation. What's another story that we're following? And this one I think has to do with the Braves. A lot of people are going to be interested in this one after hearing about the broadcast partnership being a problem earlier this year.
Yeah, so lots of complaints about the broadcast partnership, but now the Braves are going to be responsible for producing their own local coverage. So this is going to be called Braves Vision, and it's a multimedia platform that's owned and operated by the Braves. So the team itself is going to be over the local television home. It's making deals on where it's going to broadcast. Some of those will take place on our competitor A&F, but other ones will be in different locations. The Braves said they are working with the different broadcast providers to figure out which games are going to go where, how often they'll be there, that kind of stuff. But one important note, this will not affect national games. So this is only local games where you can watch in Atlanta, but like away games that are broadcast on Fox Sports and other places will still be on those stations. So you'll always just kind of have to check and keep up with the TV schedule to see where the Braves will be.
Sam Daniel, thank you so much for the update on what's trending on our website. As we come back into our studio here, we want to talk about something that might interest a lot of folks, and it has to do with an 18-month period of John Lennon's life that will never be lost to fans. So, you know, our entertainment reporter on Good Day Atlanta, of course, had to get the scoop on this. Let's see what Paul Milliken was up to this morning on Good Day Atlanta.
Well, we all know John Lennon. We know the music, we know the Beatles, we know a little bit about the story, but you don't know the half of it when it comes to his relationship with May Pang and this amazing period of time called The Lost Weekend. The best way to find out, go straight to the source right here. May Pang is in Metro Atlanta in Roswell today and tomorrow with these incredible photographs. These are all pictures that you took during your time with John Lennon.
Right, absolutely. So you're getting a chance to see John the way I saw him.
Right. And so how did you see him when you look at these photographs and you think back to this sort of now mythical figure? What does he jog in your memory?
I mean, he was just John to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I just thought, hey, you know, he was really funny. He had that other side of him that nobody even really saw of him.
Right.
And he was great. He was easygoing.
Yeah, so you have this incredible documentary which people can stream now on Prime Video called The Lost Weekend, A Love Story. And I think that really does do an incredible job of showing us what a playful side he had and the fun the two of you had. You were running around New York City like a couple of kids.
Absolutely. And everybody thought we lived in L.A. We didn't. We actually lived in New York.
Yeah.
We went out to L.A. for projects, but really we lived in New York.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the documentary and this exhibit is that you can set the record straight because a lot of people want to tell your story.
Absolutely. I can't even tell you. I'm hearing it back from other people, and I said, that's not the way it happened.
Right. So you can tell us exactly what happened. For example, let's talk about this photo right here. Tell me the story behind this.
We were on our way to Palm Springs.
Okay.
I have to remember which Palm we're talking about. And we were with Harry Nielsen, and I have to laugh. We were taking a break, so they're on the grass and they were just joking around.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it's a long ride from L.A. to Palm Springs, so we were just taking our break. It was a group of us. So I decided to take some photos over there on the ground.
Yeah, and it's such a perfect photograph. And then next to it, that motorcycle.
Oh, that motorcycle. This is that's in 63.
Okay.
63, sorry, 73.
Yeah.
We were on our way back from Las Vegas to L.A., and this is a place called Calico Ghost Town. Mm-hmm. And we were taking a break, and John saw this trike, and he kept looking at it, walked away, came back, looked at it, walked away, came back, and finally I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I said, John, before we get in the car, go stand by that trike. Yeah. And I took one picture, one, and he goes, and he posed for me on this one just to see, and he's wearing my jeans.
Oh, I love that. I love that you shared clothes, and I love that you titled it The Toy.
Exactly. But I wouldn't let him, if we had that, I wouldn't let him drive.
No way. And then one more I have to say, this is called So This Is Christmas, and that just brings to mind the fact that this very famous song that we hear every holiday season, Happy Christmas, War is Over, you're singing on that.
Yes, it's a whole group thing. Yeah. Everybody's there. And the photographer for the sleeve, because now we don't have those things anymore.
Right, the record sleeve. Yeah.
I'm standing next to the Phil Spector.
You are.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But the photographer, if I could talk, it would be great. Yeah. The photographer for that photo was Ian McMillan. He's the famous guy that took the Abbey Road photo.
Wow.
So he was the photographer that took that one, too.
Amazing stories. And again, you can hear much more from May Pang and see her work the next 2 days here in Roswell. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Keep coming back. Okay?
I love to.
Good. And you're here because of the wonderful Ann Jackson Gallery, and that's where Valerie comes in. How much do you love these photographs?
I can't even describe it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm living through May's eyes with John Lennon.
Right, because we all kind of have a base knowledge of the Beatles, John Lennon, his music, but to see this intimate side is so rare.
Well, I feel his presence today. I really, really do.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing to hear. So when people come here to the museum, noon to 7, what do you want them to know?
I want them to know that May is here to greet you.
Yep.
They're all for sale. She will sign for you and take a photograph if you purchase something. And I just want you to enjoy this history.
Yeah, it's an important story in pop culture and beyond. And you and I have been saying to you that documentary, The Lost Weekend, is just a wonderful.
Important to watch that, guys.
Yeah,
So
for
you will fall in love with her immediately.
I think so too. Absolutely. All right. Great to see you as always. And thank you for the work you are always doing. And again, you can see these and more the next 2 days in Roswell because we've got the incredible Lost Weekend here.
And for more information on all of that, you can head to fox5atlanta.com and click on the Good Day Atlanta section. Fox 5 News Live at 1 continues after this. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. Peachtree City is home to the commemorative Air Force Air Base. And of course, we sent Fox 5's Chris Rosenthal there to give us a look inside. Hey, Chris.
Hey, good morning, Tyler, or good afternoon, actually. So yeah, I am here at the commemorative Air Force Air Base, Georgia, here in Peachtree City, where they house, restore, maintain, and fly World War II aircraft like this one and many others. In fact, they have a really cool trainer here that some of the Tuskegee Airmen use. But the reason why I'm here today is that Kennesaw State University has a traveling exhibit here called Georgia Journeys. It's by the Museum of History and Holocaust Education, and it is here on display for the public to see, highlighting a variety of Georgians or people that maybe have moved here after the war to Georgia and made their mark here. We have veterans, and we have Holocaust survivors, and a variety of people. And I'm here with Mark Richards. Here he is with the Air Base Georgia, and just tell me a little bit about how this came to be here.
Well, thanks, Chris. We're honored to host this Kennesaw State University's Georgia Journeys, which is powerful stories about World War II veterans, homemakers, and Holocaust survivors that helped shape our state. We have a member of our volunteer group that is associated with Kennesaw State University. We learned about these traveling exhibits, and we wanted to host this exhibit to enrich the people of Georgia, and especially the people here in Peachtree City and Fayette County, about their heritage, about Georgia's heritage and what we did during the war.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's there are 8 people here highlighted. We have Hillard Pouncey here. He was a Tuskegee airman, and he, after the war, he settled here and retired here in Georgia. In fact, one of the aircrafts there was one that he may have, we don't know for sure, but he may have flown in training. And we have Jane Tucker. She was a Rosie the Riveter. She worked in Savannah on the shipyards, and so just a lot of other, plenty of other people here. Lots to highlight. You can come here. Again, this is Air Base Georgia, Peachtree City, right by the airport. This is free Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
So much for giving us a look inside. I'm a history buff. I actually like stuff like this, so actually I may put this down on my notepad and actually go out there, because things like that are super cool about World War II to learn, so we don't forget what happened. Chris, I really appreciate it. And Tom is joining me here at our desk to talk about, do you like that? When you go?
Well, I love that it's at Kennesaw State, because sometimes there's like parking issues and logistical problems getting to these fantastic exhibits, but Kennesaw is such a sprawling campus up in Kennesaw, Georgia, obviously, but easy to access, easy to get to, and what a great piece of history relevant to our city to go and look at, Tyler.
Yeah.
All right, coming up at 7 o'clock is The Pulse, which streams right here on Fox Local, and you can see on Fox 5. The question is, in Peru, you eat guinea pig.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
That is one of the dishes down there. Would you eat iguana? All right? Because in South Florida, they're serving iguana on pizza, in addition to alligator and some other things, bacon, cheese. But there's a bit of an uproar down there. People don't like the fact that they're serving iguana on these pizzas. I don't know why. What's the difference between an iguana and an alligator?
Or an iguana and chicken, or iguana and pepperoni, or
and bacon. But folks have a problem with it. Iguana, by the way, in South Florida are everywhere.
Invasive.
Yes, sometimes they fall out of trees right in front of you, but they're kind of slimy creatures. They're cute. Some people have them as pets.
Raining iguanas.
Raining iguanas and raining on pizzas, too.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. I might, under the right circumstances and depending how many drinks I've had. I might try some iguana pizza. But we're going to talk about that and a whole host of other things that you're talking about as well tonight on The Pulse. We always have so much fun. You know that because you've been on The Pulse. So we'll see you tonight here on Fox Local at 7 o'clock and on Fox 5, Tyler.
Yeah, anytime Tom's around, it's a great time. So you should join us on the conversation. You can go to fox5atlanta.com/pulse so we can hear from us. Fox 5 News Live continues right after this with Ariel Onstott.
Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being here. We've got a lot to get to. We're going to talk about the latest happening with the Falcons as they're at the NFL Combine looking for new talent, and as they've made the decision to release Kirk Cousins. But first, I want to start with some local news here, as a local elementary school principal has resigned after a DUI arrest. You're taking a look at the photo of Jill Spiva. She was a principal, or a Addison Elementary School principal, and police allege that she caused a crash while intoxicated and was found with half of an empty bottle of vodka in her car. So the Cobb County School District has named Brett Ward as the school's interim principal to ensure stability for students, and she has resigned from her role there at Addison Elementary School. So we'll keep you updated as this progresses. But in the meantime, speaking of school stories, I want to move on to something that's captured a lot of attention, and it involves a woman who was arrested for stealing a school bus. Let's get out to our Doug Evans, who joins us live. And Doug, I remember when you were covering this story and you got called away to breaking news. Allegedly, this woman took a school bus on a joyride. Is that what we know?
That was. I'd forgotten that there was breaking news during that day in which we were reporting on this. We did report it on Fox 5, and it did go national, viral, in fact. The sheriff's office telling me that they had requests from national media that was making headlines worldwide. And so there's been an arrest. And you know the old school adage of throwing someone under the bus, and, well, that's what's happened here for Allison Marie Lines of Temple, Georgia. Back earlier in February, surveillance cameras aboard a Coweta County school bus captured someone hopping aboard and driving off with that school bus. They would later find it in Temple, Georgia. Here's a bit of a coincidence. Allison Lines apparently is from Temple, Georgia, exactly where they found the school bus. And she has been arrested by Carroll County authorities and has been taken now to the Coweta County Jail, where she's facing a number of charges, including theft, also 3 counts of entering auto, which would lead you to believe that maybe there was more than one school bus entered on that night, and also criminal trespass. We know very little about her. She's 48 years old, we're told, and she is from Temple, Georgia, there where they found the school bus. A couple of questions that have not yet been answered in all of this. First, how did she get the keys? Yes, she had the keys to the bus. Sounds like a bit of a security problem there. Also, why? Why did she steal the school bus? You might even be able to add to that, why did she drive it to Carroll County and abandon it there? Those questions remain unanswered as of yet. Ariel.
Yeah, Doug, you know, you're taking the questions right out of my brain, because that's exactly what I was curious about. Do we know why she did this? And it seems like that's the big question investigators are still trying to piece together. Surely there are many vehicles, in my mind, that would be easier to take and to drive than a school bus, but I guess maybe you don't always have the keys to those other vehicles.
And that's perhaps one thing. The other thing was, you know, I have a really good relationship with the school district here, and so I called them today and say, hey, I need to go over to Arbor Springs Elementary School and shoot some video of the school and some buses out front. And so they said sure, and thanked me for the call. And so we aligned a time for me to go out there and do that. And one of the things that I noticed, Ariel, is that this school sits up on top of a hill, and you can't even see the building from the street, let alone the buses and the bus loops and everything else that's up there. So you would literally have to climb this big hill, as I did today, to get up to the school. Parked on the road, walked up the big hill, stood there, shot my shots, and left. But unless you go up there, you don't even know what's there. So why in the middle of the night was she up there at this school?
Very, very curious, Doug. Exactly what I want to know. And your perspective of being able to go out there for yourself kind of paints a bigger picture. What's next for this woman? I understand she's been arrested, so does she have a court date? What's next in her case, do you know?
Well, she's currently being held in the Coweta County Jail. I talked with the folks over there in Coweta today about the case. She has been transferred from the Carroll County Jail, so she's here in Coweta County now. The next step is to question her, and perhaps when they do, perhaps they'll have some enlightenment on what she was up to that night, why the school bus, how she got the keys and everything else, and why she drove it to Carroll County. It's about, I'd say it's about a 45-minute drive from here to where she was in Temple, Georgia. So a good long piece, and I'd hate to do it. You know, I'm told that she even took a practice lap around the parking lot before she left. You know, kind of get the feel.
Yeah, buses are tough to drive. Yeah.
Well, no, I know.
Well, Doug, very curious case. No doubt you'll continue to keep us updated as this progresses. Remarkable, no one was hurt, wonderful in that sense, but definitely a lot of questions unanswered as to how she got a hold of the keys to this bus, why she took it so far away. Hopefully you'll get those answers for us. But Doug, I'll let you get back to your reporting. Thanks so much for joining us live and joining the conversation. Appreciate you. All right, guys, as we move on here at 2 o'clock, I want to let you know that we're getting a clearer picture about the new ICE detention facility that's coming to Social Circle, Georgia, and really new documents from Social Circle that are showing how the Department of Homeland Security plans to launch this detention facility and really detention facilities nationwide. This massive project's going to cost more than $36 billion as part of the Detention Re-Engineering Initiative for ICE. City leaders say they recently had a meeting with DHS and ICE regarding a planned detention center on East Hightower Trail. That's going to hold up to 10,000 people, according to officials. In a statement, an ICE spokesperson says, in part, these are not warehouses. They will be very well-structured detention facilities, meeting our regulation detention standards. Sites will undergo community impact studies and a rigorous due diligence process. Now, if you've been following this story, you know that's been one of the big concerns that city leaders have brought up is what does the economic and environmental impact look like to our community, given that this will be such a massive facility? What kind of strains are going to be put on our infrastructure, water, plumbing, sewage, that sort of thing? And at a Monday night council meeting, some attendees were very critical of this plan. And while federal officials did provide an analysis of this site in Social Circle, the city's manager in Social Circle has expressed concern about the project specifics. Let's take a listen if we can.
Their conclusions are based on some very fundamental flaws, such as the fact that the sewage analysis includes connection to a sewer treatment plant that's not even part of our system, and it's in a different county.
Well, it gives you kind of an idea of some of the concerns that community members have, and you can see the statement from ICE that I just read to you guys. But ultimately, ICE says that they're going to do their due diligence with this. But some of you here in the TikTok comments are remarking $36 billion is no small chunk of change for a project like this. We'll continue to keep you updated as we get any new information about these detention facilities headed to our communities right here in Georgia. In the meantime, I want to let you know that earlier this morning, a nonprofit held a vigil to honor the man Kyle Basinga, and he was the 21-year-old who was found last week in Fair Oaks Park. The story's been getting a lot of attention here locally and, of course, even nationally now on social media. But Kyle Basinga was ultimately found hanging from a tree, and yesterday, Cobb County police cleared up rumors, at least they tried to clear up rumors about what they say happened to Basinga. Detectives say they looked at surveillance video that shows Basinga entering a wooded area at the park alone. They say there are no signs that anyone else was involved in his death, and they say they plan to release more information after speaking to this man's family. The meeting has been delayed because some of the family has been out of the country, and yesterday the Cobb County Police Chief said they want to speak with the family about the evidence they have before releasing some of that to the public. But they've been trying to clear up what they say is misinformation surrounding surrounding this man's death. Activists and community leaders of this nonprofit, as they held this vigil earlier this morning, you can see held a prayer circle, and we're trying to honor his memory. Leaders with the New Order human rights organization, some of the members there that you just saw on your screen, say they do plan to address Cobb County commissioners tonight at a board meeting at 7. We'll keep you updated as this case progresses. And as we switch gears here, I want to let you know a little bit more about two bills, or rather a couple pieces of competing legislation in the Georgia's legislature right now. And they're exploring free speech rights for students. And our Deidre Dukes, of course, has been keeping us updated on everything Georgia legislature. So, Deidre, I understand that these bills are competing as it relates to the rights of students and their free speech exercise. Can you tell us what are lawmakers trying to accomplish, and what's the overview here?
Yeah, in a sense, competing bills, Ariel. We're talking about 3 different bills we learned today, actually. 2 coming out of the Senate, one sponsored by a Democrat, the second by a Republican senator, and then we have a bill all the way over in the House that is being sponsored, of course, by a House representative there. And all 3 bills actually deal with students' First Amendment rights, taking a different, I guess you could say, paths for the same common goal. Now, as you recall, just a few weeks ago, we saw demonstrations by students across the metro area and around the country, really in regards to anti-ICE demonstrations, students who walked out of school in protest of federal immigration activity. Well, in some of those instances, we saw students were disciplined as a result of that, and one of the bills would make it illegal to punish students for walking out of class or participating, say, if they chose to go to a school board meeting and protest there. They would be given 2 actual days legally where they could take off from school to participate in these without fear of being disciplined. Now, we also learned today out of the Senate, a bill was introduced just today. It is called I want to make sure I get that right. It was just introduced today. It's called the True Patriotism and Universal Student Access Act. Now, this legislation is inspired by the late right-wing political activist Charlie Kirk, and we are told that it was created in conjunction with Turning Point USA, and that it honors Charlie Kirk and what his mission was. This bill is being introduced by Republican Senator Ben Watson, and he said that he's carrying the bill on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor, and here's how he described to us what this bill would accomplish if it passes.
Basically, it is the Lieutenant Governor's bill that I'm carrying for him. It is in conjunction with Turning Point USA, honoring Charlie Kirk and what his mission was. And in this particular situation, we're teaming with Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA and allowing what is allowed in the U.S. Constitution and the Georgia Constitution, just the freedom of speech in schools, and to allow political and non-political and Christian and non-Christian organizations to form in schools.
Now, so to give you an idea of what the bill would do if it were to pass and become law, it would allow public school students to take part in political activities, speak out about political issues, and wear clothing, accessories, displaying political messages on campus. Now, as I said, we also have a Democratic senator who is sponsoring a bill that would allow students to miss a couple days of school to attend demonstrations, things of that nature, without fear of disciplinary action, and a House representative, a Democratic representative, who also appeared alongside that Democratic senator today, who's also sponsoring similar legislation in the House in regards to allowing students to miss a couple days of school to participate in demonstrations and the like. And here's what they had to tell us.
The message is the same, that regardless of what your ideology is, students should be encouraged to participate in civic engagement. We want them to learn by hands-on experience and using their voices. If we want an informed electorate in the future, this is how we prepare them, allow them to exercise those muscles so that they're ready when they have to go in those ballot boxes and vote for someone. No matter what you believe in, you should want that from our students in high school today.
And that is why the lawmaker that you heard from, Ariel, just now said that this really shouldn't be a Republican or a Democratic issue. This is an issue that he believes, and bills that he believes, that all the lawmakers here at the state capitol should be able to get behind.
Deidre, you know, it's really interesting hearing from the people you were able to speak to and understanding that there are 3 bills exploring this issue there in the legislature. So I guess my question or biggest takeaway would be, what would you say the biggest difference is between the 2 bills, or 3 bills, excuse me, since it seems that lawmakers do seem to agree that people should be able to express themselves regardless of their ideology or political beliefs. So what would be the big differences between these pieces of legislation?
Yeah, it really is interesting, Ariel, that it just so happened that all of these bills were either introduced or actually, news conferences held today to discuss the legislation. I would say the biggest difference, although they are quite similar, the biggest difference would be with the bill named after Charlie Kirk. It solely focuses mainly on activities at school, so it really would allow students the freedom, no matter their political background or religious beliefs. As the bill stands now, it would allow them to exercise that free expression, to be able to speak freely about their political beliefs, to be able to wear clothing, hats, accessories, really expressing their political or religious beliefs without fear of discrimination or some form of retaliation, where the other bills that we spoke of, one coming from the Senate and one coming from the House, really deal more so with students being able to, unlike the students in Cobb who did face disciplinary action for their attempt to participate in those NAI's protests, they would have been allowed under this, what would be a law, they would be allowed to participate and wouldn't fear disciplinary action or things of that nature if they had an excused absence on that day for that purpose.
Deidre, thank you so much for being so thorough in that explanation. It really helps me understand better, because I think, a lot of schools, it's interesting to note, a lot of schools, especially private, do have some kind of restriction on what people can wear and messaging and things like that. So going to be interesting, based on what bill may pass, to see how that may apply to students across the state. Obviously, private schools may have different rules, but if it is a public university, going to be interesting to see how that is enacted moving forward.
Right, absolutely.
Deidre, thanks so much for your time and conversation today. I'll let you get back to it. Appreciate you as always. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, I want to talk about something that all eyes are really on as we look ahead toward this evening, and that would be the State of the Union address from the president. He is set to deliver that later tonight. And let's go through a little bit about what the president may discuss in that State of the Union, because one thing that the president's going to do, if we expect nothing else from tonight, is to be long-winded. We know that President Trump has a fair amount of experience with these kinds of addresses, but tonight we do expect him to pull out all the stops as he tries to sway voters towards the GOP when we look ahead toward the midterm elections. The president has said it's going to be a long speech because we have so much to talk about. And when we think about what we have to talk about, let's go through it. A potential war brewing with Iran, a Supreme Court decision that just upended the president's tariff plan, a Department of Homeland Security shutdown that affects the TSA, Secret Service, and the Coast Guard, among some other agencies, and a sagging approval number. Fox News has the president's approval ratings around 44%, but the president says the economy is doing well. He says that we have the greatest economy and the most activity that we've ever had, but at this point, we know that not everyone agrees with that. The official Democratic response is going to be delivered by the newly elected governor of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger, and we counted at least 19 lawmakers who are planning to skip the State of the Union speech in order to attend what they are calling the People's State of the Union, given by the Democrats at the National Mall. Others will be bringing guests to make their points, with some Democrats inviting family members of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. We also know the president's going to have guests of his own, including the U.S. Olympic gold-winning men's hockey team, the women's hockey team turned turned down the invitation, and that invitation, they turned down that invitation after a video was released showing the president talking about how he would have to invite them. The women's hockey team did cite scheduling conflicts as the reason for not being able to attend the president's State of the Union. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson's now scrambling for that space, saying that, quote, "We're going to work in every way we can to accommodate. We certainly want to have them here for the celebration." As you can see here when he was asked by reporters walking through the hallways there in Congress. The president has warned of a long speech tonight. He's going to make his way from the White House to Capitol Hill to deliver that address. He set a record last year, speaking for an hour and 39 minutes, even though technically that address in the first year of a term is not considered an official State of the Union. You're going to be able to watch that right here on Fox Local as we'll bring it to you live, and of course the Democratic response as well. One thing I want to keep you guys updated on as well is that when the president hosts his State of the Union, a lot of local and regional leaders take the opportunity to host their States of the Union. Fulton County did that just this morning. Fulton County's chairman spoke of a bunch of different issues this morning, and he did take the time to address the recent FBI raid on an elections facility here in Fulton County. Take a listen.
And last but not least, elections. Our elections are safe and they're strong, in spite of what you might hear, in spite of what you might read. And despite an unannounced raid by the FBI on January 28th, I say with conviction, as I stand before you this morning, Fulton County elections are safe, Fulton County elections are fair, Fulton County elections are lawful, Fulton County elections are transparent, and every legal vote that is cast is counted. The President of the United States has threatened to nationalize elections and take over elections specifically here in Fulton County, Georgia. And even some state legislators are using that to get 10 seconds of TV time every now and then. But let me be crystal clear about that. We will fight any effort to take over our elections with every resource that we have available to us. That's today, that's tomorrow, and as long as it takes to protect democracy and your right to vote, we will.
We'll keep you updated as this case progresses regarding the FBI in Fulton County and how the FBI, or rather federal government, was able to get those election ballots and materials related to the 2020 election. As it continues, a lot of retailers are uncertain after the recent tariff ruling from the Supreme Court. So speaking about the State of the Union and where we stand with all of this, one thing that the Trump administration is trying to do is increase the global tariff to 15%. We spoke about this a little bit yesterday. And now let's explore how some retailers are doing at this time, because retailers have been operating in the dark really since last year, many of them racing to stockpile inventory before the tariffs took effect. The National Retail Federation is calling on the Supreme Court's ruling, calling it much needed certainty for U.S. businesses and manufacturers. But there's still uncertainty as to what is going to happen with the revenue that they paid to the federal government with those tariffs. Many business owners have hit the brakes on shipments indefinitely, and others have cut staff and raised prices to deal with higher costs. Some of the biggest companies say they've passed tariff-related costs onto consumers. Walmart attributed a jump in prices for certain goods to higher import duties. Levi Strauss says it's hiking prices in response to tariffs by modest amounts on lower-priced items. But ultimately, the White House is disputing tariffs are fueling inflation and hurting the economy. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said that the president is fulfilling his mandate to the American people by bringing manufacturing back to the United States and stopping the U.S. from being ripped off by our trading partners. But not everyone agrees. The Trump administration says the tariffs are going to shrink the deficit by adding fair trade terms, energizing domestic manufacturing, and generating billions in federal revenue. At this point, the number of the number of tariff revenue generated, some $2 billion, does pale in comparison to the national deficit, which is well over $1 trillion. At this point as well, FedEx is now suing the Trump administration for tariff-related issues. They allege that financial harm has been imposed to them because of tariff policies. They filed the lawsuit against the federal government on Monday, and they're seeking a full refund over payments it made under President Trump's tariff policies. This marks one of the first major lawsuits regarding tariff reimbursements since the Supreme Court's ruling on Friday. That ruling, of course, alleges that, or rather ruled that President Trump exceeded his authority when he used the International Economic Emergency Powers Act, also known as EPA, to impose tariffs on a majority of the world. This complaint from FedEx does allege that FedEx is entitled to compensation because it had to expedite shipments through customs. The lawsuit did not disclose how much FedEx has paid in tariffs or the dollar amount the company is seeking from the federal government. The Supreme Court did not make it clear if businesses that paid tariffs under the EPA were going to receive refunds. And that's where a lot of this uncertainty really is coming in. So as we continue, I want to let you know what is going on in Mexico, because if you've been following along on social media, you've seen incredible images of the violence that has unfolded with cars burning, businesses burned there by cartel members in the western state of Jalisco in Mexico. And this all stems from the recent killing of a top drug kingpin there in Mexico. And security forces now are working to contain the cartel violence. And at this point, one thing that the United States is really monitoring is whether or not Americans are going to be able to get home safely. They're trying to make sure that tourists who've been to the country are going to be able to get back here to the United States. The U.S. State Department has been trying to protect Americans caught in this wave of violence. And one thing, if you're just tuning back into this, is that a lot of people who are sheltering in place at these resorts have voiced fears of being able to get to the airport safely, even if their flights are taking off. You know, many of them were canceled or diverted. Even if flights are taking off, they're afraid to be able to get to the resort. You can imagine how people living near Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara are feeling, people who live and work there who are trying to get to and from where they need to go safely. Shelter-in-place advisories have remained in effect for Americans in some of these popular tourist destinations. The White House says so far no Americans have been injured or killed, but many are still stranded and a lot of flights are still canceled. The Mexican forces took down El Mencho. He was one of the country's most powerful drug lords and cartel leaders. And after his death, a lot of cartel members of the Jalisco New Generation cartel took to the streets to avenge his death, killing dozens of people and burning down stores, cars, and gas stations, like I mentioned. And you can see video of some of these burned cars and businesses there. U.S. intelligence did help Mexican officials track down El Mencho. He was hurt in a shootout with Mexican special forces and died en route to Mexico City. All of this happens as Mexico is preparing to host the World Cup this summer, along with the United States and Canada. So there are now some concerns as to how safety is going to be perceived in the country. The State Department has set up a 24-hour phone line fielding calls to assist Americans there on the ground. We're going to continue to keep you updated as this situation unfolds there. I know a lot of you have family in Mexico. A lot of us here in even in Atlanta have a very big community, a Mexican community. So if you guys have family members that are not safe or who are dealing with the situation there on the ground, we'd love to talk to you. You can feel free to email us, reach out here on TikTok, on YouTube, where we're streaming live, and drop your comments. And we'd love to hear more of your stories, as we want to make sure that we're covering it. As we continue here, we're going to get a check of your local weather forecast, and we're going to check in with meteorologist Alex Forbes on what to expect there. Welcome back in, you guys. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being here live with us at 2 o'clock. Meteorologist Alex Forbes been tracking your weather conditions. It was so cold this morning, but a warm-up is on the way, so let's check in with him.
After a bitterly cold day yesterday and a cold morning today, we are seeing temperatures rebound this afternoon, getting into the low 50s, but that also is coming with some increased cloud cover and our winds now shifting, coming out of the west-southwest and southwest into the evening tonight. Now, even though it's light, the winds are still strong enough that when you combine the dry vegetation and the low relative humidities, that we do have the opportunity for some high fire danger through the afternoon, so maybe not the best idea to burn things. There you go into the afternoon and evening tonight. There's your cloud cover across north and central Georgia. Temperatures in the upper 30s, low 40s tomorrow morning, and then into the afternoon getting several degrees warmer than we are today. We're looking at low 60s for your Wednesday, but also a predominantly cloudy day. Some scattered showers will be around, that rain chance right around 20%. Here we go into Thursday, still cloudy across north and central Georgia with some passing showers. That will set the stage for a line of heavier showers and maybe even a couple of storms. That's going to be arriving in northwest Georgia sometime between 10 and midnight, and then that will push south down toward the I-85 corridor and toward us here in metro Atlanta and North Georgia. That will likely be early Friday morning. Now, we are looking at the opportunity to pick up some meaningful rainfall out of this. This is the GFS model here. You see a band of an inch plus of rain really right along I-20. Meanwhile, its counterpart, the European model, is trying to throw some more rain our way. Take a look at this. Yeah, as we work our way into the afternoon hours, we would be talking about maybe 1 to 2 inches by the time all is said and done Friday afternoon. And that is the lead up to a fantastic weekend. We saw 2 wet weekends, really the last couple of weekends here in February. That first weekend in February was pretty dry. But we are going to be looking at 68 on Saturday, 72 there on Sunday. Definitely the pick of the weekend there, and completely dry days both days. Saturday, of course, the last day of February. Sunday is the first day of March. Now, this rain ahead of the weekend is some good news because take a look at our latest drought monitor. You see severe drought across most of north and central Georgia, with even that pocket of extreme drought over near Athens. That extends up into the South Carolina upstate, but also down into Upson County, extending back down towards Columbus. And part of the reason we have this is because over the last 30 days, so from the back half of January to now, we have received less than a quarter of the rain that we should have received when you average it all out. And this orange shaded area, which includes most everybody else, that's less than half of what we should have seen through the month of February. So we are going to take any opportunity we can get to pick up this rainfall. Not to mention, February has been a warm month for us here in metro Atlanta and North Georgia. 17 above average days, 6 below average days, including the last 2. But look at last week, right? We hit 79 on Thursday, 80 on Friday. Those 2 numbers were 20 and 21 degrees above the norm. And really, the month has been dominated being above the norm. And it wasn't by a little. It was by 11, by 13, by 10, by 20, by 21 degrees. So when you average it all out at the end of the month, it's going to go down as an above average month with just a couple of cool spells in between now and then. So as for today, average high is 80, or average high is 60, not 80. 53 is where we're headed for the afternoon. 80 is going to be like the end of April, beginning of May. The kid can't wait for that, right? 54 in Milledgeville today, 52 in Athens, 49 over in Blairsville. In the days to come, we're going to be actually above that average mark, getting up to about 63 tomorrow, 66 on Thursday. That's going to be ahead of our overnight showers and storms into Friday, clearing out Friday afternoon and clearing out for the weekend. 68 Saturday, 72 there on Sunday. Overnight low temperatures not too bad either. We're going to be close to 45 to 50 Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Awesome, Alex. Thanks so much for the update. We'll be sure to stay tuned as we hope that warm-up is on the way. So as we continue, you guys, I want to let you know we have a new update in the Charlie Kirk murder case. Just today, the judge in this case has dismissed the defense's push to remove the prosecutors. And as standing trial or accused in this case would be Tyler Robinson. And one thing that the defense had alleged was that there was a conflict of interest. And defense attorneys alleged that the prosecution had mishandled that conflict of interest. So they asked for those prosecutors to be excused from the case. But the judge ruled today that that the attorneys, the prosecutors in this case would be able to continue forward. In question here, and at the heart of this was the presence of the lead prosecutor's child at the event where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And ultimately, the defense was saying that this would influence the prosecutor's decisions in the case, but the judge felt otherwise, saying this did not materially influence prosecutors' decisions. It was a split 2-day hearing earlier this year where the deputy attorney testified that his child had attended that Turning Point USA event where Charlie Kirk was shot, and his 18-year-old, who is a student at Utah Valley University, did not see the deadly moments or witness anybody in the crowd who may have been a suspect. So that's why prosecutors were arguing this had no bearing on their decisions. The defense disagreed, but ultimately the judge ruled that the prosecutors can continue forward on this case. And as we continue, I want to let you know the latest information in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. We have no new word on DNA evidence in this case or who a potential suspect might be, but at this point, Savannah Guthrie has posted another video on social media. She and her family are now offering a $1 million reward for any information that leads to the recovery of their mother, Nancy Guthrie. She went missing more than 3 weeks ago, and the search for her has now entered its 4th week. As she posted that video, Savannah Guthrie did just today, basically saying that her family still believes her 84-year-old mother will be returned home. She's urging everyone not to give up hope, and she acknowledged that her mother could be gone, but they are praying that that is not the case and are hoping that someone has information, saw something about when her mother was kidnapped from her home in Arizona. One thing that Savannah Guthrie did say in that video, she announced she and her family would be donating $500,000 to the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and hopes that other families who are going through similar situations and maybe not receiving the same media coverage or notoriety that this case is receiving would be able to receive more attention regarding their missing loved ones. So Savannah Guthrie and her family donating $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and offering a $1 million reward for any information in her mother's disappearance. As we continue, I want to let you know that the former United Kingdom ambassador here to the United States has been arrested and now released on bail. We're speaking about Peter Mendelsohn, who was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in office stemming from his ties with Jeffrey Epstein. Police confirmed that a 72-year-old man was arrested in North London on Monday. They did not name the former ambassador in accordance with UK guidelines. The suspect in the case has previously been identified as Mendelsohn. And investigators are looking over documents that suggest Mendelsohn possibly passed sensitive government information to Epstein over a decade ago. Mendelsohn was fired last September after disclosures from a released batch of the Epstein files linked him to Epstein there and potential misconduct. So this is something we're going to continue to follow closely. No doubt Great Britain facing some high-profile arrests in relation to Jeffrey Epstein and the release of many of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein because, as you know, former Prince Andrew was also arrested and released on suspicion of misconduct while in public office. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that story. Really quickly, I want to let you know something developing, something to keep your eyes on at this point. The United States is evacuating some of its staff, non-essential, non-emergent staff, from its United States Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon, amid growing tensions with Iran. The State Department ordered the departure of non-essential staff and personnel and family members on Monday, and the State Department did not state an official reason for the evacuation, but the move does come as President Trump is ordering a military buildup of forces in the Middle East. The world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, just made it near Crete to the mouth there in the Mediterranean, getting closer towards the Middle East and Iran. The president said last week, quote, "Bad things will happen," end quote, if Iran is not able to reach a deal with the United States regarding its nuclear program. Reports say Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has tightened control over Hezbollah, and that is a terrorist group there in Lebanon. So that is a concern for the United States as we look at this ever-evolving situation. The department said the decision to remove non-essential staff will be temporary. The president did give Iran a deadline of 10 to 15 days to reach a deal, and that was last Thursday. So we're already nearly a week into this. As we continue, we're going to take you out to get a check of a really cool traveling exhibit dealing with World War II artifacts with our Chris Rosenthal. We're going to check out some aircraft coming up next. Welcome back in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here at 2 o'clock on your Tuesday afternoon. Taking a look through some of your TikTok and YouTube comments, and someone here from New Zealand says, fascinating weather for you guys, just watching Alex's weather forecast. So assuming that you did, and yeah, the weather gives us whiplash here in Georgia all the time. Knowing you in New Zealand, you're probably getting ready for winter at this point in the fall transitional months. So definitely difference to see the changes in our weather patterns. But as we continue here a little closer to home, there is a traveling exhibit dealing with World War II aircraft down in Peachtree City, and our Chris Rosenthal went down to check it out for us. Chris, I'm getting a sneak peek behind you. This looks really neat.
Yeah, actually, this is at the Commemorative Air Force Air Base, Georgia, here in Peachtree City. It's near Atlanta Regional Airport, Falcon Field here, and they have a variety of World War II era aircraft here. And I'm joined by Mark Richards here. He is with the he is with Air Base Georgia. And tell me a little bit about, first of all, we're going to talk about a KSU exhibit here shortly, but tell me just real quick about these aircraft here.
Well, at Air Base Georgia, we're a part of the Commemorative Air Force based out of Dallas, Texas, and we restore, maintain, and fly these vintage World War II aircraft. Here at Air Base Georgia, we have 9 aircraft, 7 that fly, 2 that are in restoration. At some point, I'll be able to show you those 2 that are in restoration.
Absolutely amazing that these things actually do fly. And this one right here, this one's really special, and we're going to kind of tie this back to this exhibit here in a second. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, Chris, it is real special. This is a PT-19 Cornell trainer that was manufactured in November of 1943, flown by a woman Air Force service pilot to Moton Field, which is Tuskegee, Alabama. And this is the only airworthy Tuskegee trainer still flying today that actually trained some of the Tuskegee Airmen in World War II.
Wow, that's amazing. So many pilots step foot in there. Tuskegee Airmen. Now, let's go over into the other room here. There's an exhibit that is with KSU, Kennesaw State University. It's a traveling exhibit called Georgia Journeys, and highlighting 8. In total, it's 12, but they have 8 people who were involved with World War II from a variety of different backgrounds. From veterans to Holocaust survivors that made their mark here in Georgia. And tell me a little bit about this exhibit. How did you guys come to have this here?
One of our members is associated with KSU, and when we learned about these exhibits, we thought, what a great way to share this with the people of Fayette County and Coweta County and Peachtree City. So we were lucky enough to get this Georgia Journeys visit, which showcases World War II veterans, homemakers, and Holocaust survivors, all who helped form the state of Georgia.
We're talking about Hillard Pouncey. We were talking about that Tuskegee Airman aircraft. He may have flown in that, huh?
There is a possibility. I mean, I don't have any way of exactly knowing, but Hillard was a Tuskegee Airman. He trained in Tuskegee, Alabama there, ended up being a bombardier in the 477th Bombardment Group, and then served for 17 years in the United States Air Force, retiring as a major. And his wife, Maddie, was a school teacher, and they ended up retiring in Georgia.
Great. I mean, all of these have great Georgia connections. I mean, Jane Tucker here.
Oh, yeah, another great one. You know, you've heard of Rosie the Riveters that worked on the airplanes. Well, Jane here, she was a Rosie the Riveter that worked on ships in the Savannah shipyards in Savannah, Georgia during World War II. Fascinating lady, still with us. I believe she's in Loganville, Georgia. But after she got finished being a Rosie the Riveter, she actually went back to school, became a dental hygienist, and she settled in Rome, Georgia, where she worked as a dental hygienist for 35 years.
Another, I wish we could get to everybody, but another fascinating woman here.
Oh, Lavina Jordan, what a fascinating lady from North Carolina. Her family, especially her dad, passed on his mathematical talent to her and her siblings, and she tested very high and became a cryptographic analyst for the Signal Corps in Washington, D.C. during World War II, breaking code.
Wow, and she's says there she still lives in Rome, Georgia.
She still lives in Rome, Georgia. That is correct.
Yeah, all of these people had connections here, ties here. Some of these people came back to Georgia or came to live here after the war.
Yes.
Wish we could get to them all, but people can come here. They want to learn more, they can come here and tell me where they can come and how they can check this out.
Absolutely. Airbase Georgia is located in Peachtree City at Atlanta Regional Airport, Falcon Field, 1200 Echo Court. And we're open Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's free. You can come here. We have docents that'll take you on a guided tour. You can not only see the KSU exhibit, but we love showing off our aircraft, especially those that are in restoration right now, and show you what this group of all volunteer staff does to keep the greatest generation of all time and the history of that alive and flying.
Absolutely, yeah. Those aircraft are here all the time. This exhibit is here until March 6th. Again, it's a traveling exhibit from Kennesaw State University, from their Museum of History and Holocaust Education. Of course, you can also go online on their website. They actually have a, if you can't make it down here, an interactive version of this exhibit as well. But it's really fascinating to see this up front and really see these incredible stories of these Georgians, so.
Chris, it's been wonderful getting to know them and learning that history about the Tuskegee Airmen. I had no idea. That was so cool. And also Rosie the Riveter. I mean, icons that were getting a deeper understanding of who they were and what they did after the war there. So lovely to know this is in Peachtree City and that we have some time to check it out. Chris, real quickly before I let you go, what was your favorite part of this or something that struck you about it?
I think for me, the connection between seeing Hillard Pouncey here, hearing his story, and then seeing the airplane that again, we don't know for sure, but he may have flown that aircraft or an aircraft like that one in training. I think it's really, it helps bring that to life.
Absolutely. Chris Rosenthal, thank you so much. We'll see you back here at 3 o'clock. As we continue, you guys, we're going to go check in with our DJ Shockley about the latest with the NFL Combine and what we're looking for with our Atlanta Falcons. So stay tuned. That's coming up. Welcome back in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here. The Atlanta Falcons are scouting at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, and that is where we find our DJ Shockley joining us live. DJ, it's great to see you. With news of this Kirk Cousins release, I feel like it makes this Combine scouting endeavor all the more important. What do you think?
Hey there. First off, it's great to see you as well. And yes, when you lose a guy like Kirk Cousins, or like the Falcons say, they're releasing him at the beginning of the league year, which is March 1st. And now you start to think, who could replace Kirk Cousins, and what better place to do that but at the NFL Scouting Combine. So today's been a big day. I've had a chance to sit down with GM Ian Cunningham. I sat down with head coach Kevin Stefanski, and then they both came out and they spoke to the mass media. So I'm going to turn this around so you can see how it goes inside the big media room here. And you can see there's a mass of people here. There's a couple head coaches and GM that are on the podium right now. You can see people standing around. And then you got all the camera stations right here. You got other kind of sporting people around here to talk about it. But it's a big day here at the NFL Combine. It's the first start of it, as it's just head coaches and GMs today, and then it becomes everybody else, all the position groups. They all be up here at this podium right here, and they'll be around the masses talking about what they expect and hopefully to get drafted coming up here in April. But, yeah, the NFL Combine has been fun already. Both Ian Cunningham and Kevin Stefanski both talked to me about Kirk Cousins and said they felt that it was just good for them to let him go and give him a chance to go have a starting spot. And they felt like they owed him that. Not owed it to him, but they felt like he was one of those guys. They said, you know what, we want to do right by you, and it's only right we do that.
Yeah, you know, DJ, it makes sense. And I think it's kind of one of those things when a relationship might not be serving both parties to the best that it could be. You know, you kind of look for a new beginning, so to speak. I have to say it's a great honor to be speaking with you, DJ. I feel like we don't get a chance to chat very much. So while I have you, I have to ask kind of as a final question as we wrap up here, what are you excited for? What are you looking ahead to? I mean, I know you've got experience with this sort of thing. So what do you think the Falcons could do to be successful this year?
Hey, Ariel, first off, all you got to do is ask. I would love to come on the show, but nobody asked me. So, you know,
oh, be
I
careful.
Chance, I come on, I'm excited, so I get a chance to ask you. So, yeah, it's cool. I love it. But I'm most excited to see some of the players that are being here. There are a lot of talented players that the Falcons we're looking forward to. Now, the Falcons only have 5 picks in this draft right now. Now, Ian Cunningham, their GM, talked about, hey, you know, we may possibly get more draft picks, and he loves draft picks, but right now they only have 5. So I think the emphasis is making sure those 5 count, and we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to see what these guys have to say throughout the week. Some of the University of Georgia guys, they got 10 guys that are here. So it's going to be fun to see which guys stick out and to see which guys make an impression as they get ready for the NFL draft in April.
DJ, thanks so much for joining us live in the conversation. Looks like you're having a great time there. We'll check back in with you, of course, as we continue. Have some fun. Not too much fun, but have some fun, DJ. All right, as we continue. I love it, DJ. Thank you. As we continue, I'm going to zoom out here to reveal our very own Tom Haynes as we get ready for 3 o'clock. Tom, real quick, what we looking forward to?
By the way, I love the behind the scenes with DJ. That was awesome.
DJ's great.
Coming up here in the 3 p.m. hour, an elementary school teacher resigning after charges of DUI. We're going to tell you about that coming up. Tyler Finger waiting in the wings here to bring us the latest on the Colin Gray trial. The father of Colt Gray, the mother giving some emotional testimony, Ariel, on the stand. Tyler's going to bring us up to date on that and more, just what you wanted to hear, more construction on 285.
Oh, yeah.
So our Kevin Stewart is out on the highway to bring us an update on what's going on and how long it's going to last, all coming up here in the 3 p.m. hour.
Tom, thank you. And thank you guys so much for streaming here with us live. I'm Ariel on Stout. We've got more headed your way at 3 o'clock.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. So glad you're with us on this Tuesday afternoon, a busy afternoon of news indeed. We got the President of the United States, the State of the Union address coming up tonight, which will be carried here on Fox Local and our broadcast channel, Fox 5. We'll cover the speech coming up here later in the hour, but we begin with new developments in the DUI arrest of a school principal, Addison Elementary School principal. Jill Spiva has resigned following her arrest last month. Police allege that she caused a crash while intoxicated and was found with a half-empty bottle of vodka in her car. The Cobb County School District has named Brett Ward as the school's interim principal to ensure stability for students. Before her resignation, Spiva had spent 4 years as principal at the school, and she'd previously served as an assistant principal at other Cobb County schools. But the news today is that the DUI arrest of the Addison Elementary School principal has prompted Jill Spiva to resign following that arrest. We'll continue to follow developments in that case as they become available. Moving on now, we want to talk about testimony continuing today in the trial of Colin Gray. He's the father of Colt Gray, the teenager accused in the 2024 Appalache high school shooting. Tyler Fingert is here with us. Tyler, we're hearing some pretty compelling testimony from the stand, not only from Colt Gray's mother, but some other family members as well.
Yeah, this morning we heard from, to start it all off, we heard from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation agent who actually interviewed Colin Gray in the hours after the alleged attack that his son allegedly took part in or did and planned at Appalache High School, which left 4 people dead and 9 others wounded. But likely the most damning testimony today came from Colin Gray's own daughter, who was 13 at the time of the shooting. She described a home she says was marked by violent outbursts, unsecured guns, and serious concerns about her brother's mental health concerns she says her father knew about. She testified that her brother kept a gun in his bedroom, the same room where she says he displayed photos and news articles of mass shooter Nicholas Cruz. She told the jury that the day after the shooting, on the way to a forensic interview, her father told her to lie to protect him. She told the jury she felt pressure, fear, and confusion, but says today, in a more stable environment, she is finally telling the full truth. Take a listen to a good chunk of what she said on the stand today. With some technical difficulties. We're going to get that for you in a second. So it's going to be about a 3-minute or so clip we're going to take for you. And obviously that is the thing that people are going to be very interested to hear. So essentially this is Colin Gray's daughter. And so she was on the stand for about 30 or 40 minutes before this came up. I'm looking at live clip right now. She's still on the stand. She's talking to, or defense attorneys are now doing cross-examination right now. And so essentially this is a very compelling part of what she had to say. Essentially, she was saying that, I want to make sure I can pull up the transcript here in front of you. And so she essentially was being asked about the days leading up to the incident at Appalache High School in September of 2024. She also was then asked about her forensic interview that she did with a local group with police officers. She did it at, I think it's called the Tree House, which is in Barrow County area. And so she had said when we were on the way to that interview, they say that according to what she was saying, that her own dad was telling her that she needs to basically told him to change what she was going to say. I'm not sure if we have that yet. I'm looking. We do not.
It doesn't sound like there was, usually when a child gets up on the stand, you don't know how loyalties will play a role in their testimony, but it sounds like she put all loyalties, at least to her father, aside and was just honest about, at least in my opinion, from what I've heard, she heard and saw and thought about this case.
Yeah, I mean, so she obviously did that interview at the Treehouse, the forensic interview, and said one thing, but now I guess she's in a more stable environment. She's in a foster home, so she's able to say what is according to prosecutors and what she's telling prosecutors and telling jurors is the truth. And so she said, I'm going to read the quote here. So he told me, like, if they ask me anything you know about, if you know that Colt had problems and that his problems would lead up to this, that I should basically try to cover for him. And she said that there were pictures on the walls, as I mentioned. He told me not to tell them that he knew they were there. And when you say pictures on the wall, this is the prosecutor asking, do you mean the pictures of Nicholas Cruz? And obviously people should know that name. That is the suspect who carried out the Parkland school massacre back on February 14th, 2018. That was in Florida, Broward County specifically. And she had responded, yes, ma'am. And the news articles about Nicholas Cruz, yes. So she was saying that essentially that they did have this and that he was aware of the pictures. Let's take a listen to that sound that we just got in moments ago.
I know what happened, and I'm upset and sad, but I'm really pissed because that kid, man, like, this is so wrong. And he is just, he's been feeding us a whole bunch of, yep, I want to get better, we're going to go to the thing and talk to his grandmother, like, hey. So I just stuck my head in there and called his mom and said, well, stand by.
It's only like 30.
I said, because.
Who is?
And so that was Colin Gray's interview. So we had the wrong thing ready to go there. But that was, just so people have some context, that was Colin Gray's initial interview he did with the GBI agent just within a few hours after the shooting at Appalache High School. They came to his house in Barrow County. They took him into a Tahoe, just a conversation, and they obviously recorded it because investigators are doing their job.
Sure.
She had testified, Kelsey Ward, the GBI agent, testified this morning saying they didn't know a whole lot of information about what happened at Appalachia, where the gun came from, until that interview. And so it was about an hour-and-a-half clip that they played for the jury today. It was certainly interesting to hear in his own words what he was understanding about what happened. And so at the tail end of that clip, if you were paying attention, he was essentially saying that the GBI agents had come just as he was figuring out that the gun was no longer in his house because he was at work.
Well, we've throughout this trial have heard such compelling testimony, not only from children who were inside that school on that fateful day, but now from Colt Gray's own family members who are revealing a lot for prosecutors, defense trying to do their best, but a lot to prosecutors about the whole situation, alleged communications with the father, Colin, who's the one on trial here. So it'll be very interesting to see how this continues to play out here.
The daughter's testimony today grabbed everyone's attention. When we heard that obviously it does not,
perhaps the most damning,
it does not bode well for the defense of having to try to defend that, because obviously their argument here is that Colin Gray knew his son was a danger and essentially didn't care and gave him a gun for Christmas in December of 2023, the same gun that was then allegedly used during the Appalachian school attack on September 4th, 2014, less than a year later.
And tried, according to prosecutors at least, to cover that up, as we're hearing from the daughter today.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's probably obviously good for prosecutors that she is saying this and telling the truth.
Being so forthcoming.
Yeah.
Tyler, thanks for the latest. We're learning more this afternoon about a facility in Social Circle. We're getting new information about this facility. The Department of Homeland Security's plans for a new detention center there. The massive project will cost more than $36 billion as part of the detention re-engineering initiative for ICE. At a Monday night city council meeting, some attendees were critical of the plan. And while the federal officials provided an analysis of the Social Circle site, the city's manager expressed concerns about project specifics. Listen.
I believe that their conclusions are based on some very fundamental flaws, such as the fact that the sewage analysis includes connection to a sewer treatment plant that's not even part of our system, and it's in a different county.
We will see if this facility and how quickly it gets off the ground is. An ICE spokesperson says, quote, "These are not warehouses. These will be very well-structured detention facilities meeting our regular detention standards. Sites will undergo community impact studies and a rigorous due diligence process." A Metro Atlanta nonprofit held a vigil for Kyle Basinga. He is the 21-year-old who was found last week in Fair Oaks, a park there, hanging from a tree. His death has sparked concern from the community, and speculation has been circulating on social media. Yesterday, Cobb County police cleared up rumors about what happened to Basinga. Detectives say that they looked at surveillance video that shows he entered a wooded area at the park alone. They say that there are no signs of anyone else or that anyone else was involved in his death, and that this likely was a suicide. We're getting new information this afternoon on a big project on 285. Not news a lot of people wanted to hear, yet more construction headed our way. Let's get out to Kevin Stewart, who is on the highway right now, to tell us more about where this is, Kevin, and how long it's projected to take.
Yeah, it's frustrating to have to deal with traffic, but they're working on a solution. We are off of 285 here in Adamsville on southwest Atlanta, not too far from I-20. That interchange is where this project is taking place. I-20, 285, the west interchange. And today, there's been some good progress, some really good progress. Over the last few months, you've seen columns that have come up. Well, today now they got the beams on there to create a flyover, which is a clear sign of some significant progress. They say they're right on time on this project. And this is just the beginning, really. What you're going to see is multiple flyovers, and on those flyovers, you're going to see 2 lanes. We watched the video as they got it up there. It's a very exciting thing to see from behind the scenes. They're also going to be adding auxiliary lanes, which are going to really be particularly helpful if you ever travel on 285 South and try to make the right turn onto 20 West, going towards Fulton Industrial. If you're going out to Cobb and Douglas and Carroll County, you know that is a huge bottleneck for people going south and people going west. Where they're going to get rid of that curve, they're going to create a lane which will allow people to a little earlier get on there and kind of figure out how they want to get there, but it's going to be straightened out. None of these sharp turns. I want you to take a listen.
The main thing would be taking away those left-hand entrance and exit ramps that currently exist, building more gradual curves. So the biggest pattern now, first and foremost, is looking to exit on the right. You're going to have to make your decision much sooner with the new lane systems and ramps that we put into service. This new ramp is going to be about a half-mile long.
Now, this project is the second largest that GDOT has taken on in this state's history, over $1 billion. The flyovers are projected, the first set of flyovers are projected to be complete in 2027 in the springtime, but the entire project will not be complete until 2030. Tom?
Kevin, you know, we remember the 285-400 interchange project, what a mess that was, and for seemingly forever, it has made that interchange so much more improved, and the ability to get through there has really been expedited. Any idea, you know, from leaders there, how this is going to improve the flow of traffic and the consequences of doing this construction in terms of traffic backup on 285?
Well, pack your patience for sure if you're on 285 and 20 while they go through this. In fact, today wasn't too bad while they were putting that together, but they're going to be bringing in some more beams over the next few weeks, particularly in early March, where they're going to bring up several more, and that's going to be done during the overnight hours, so to make sure that there's nothing too crazy on the interstate backing people up, but they say you do need to be patient. One thing that they're projecting is that by adding these reconfigured roads and pathways, they're trying to get a better traffic flow, and they're saying that during peak hours, morning rush hour, afternoon rush hour, you'll be able to see maybe a 20, 30, 35% more faster traffic during that, not speeding, but obviously because it's going to be congested. But they believe that you're going to see a double-digit increase in the speed of traffic percentage-wise to get that flow going. So they say it's going to be a much needed improvement in the area as Metro Atlanta continues to grow.
All right, Kevin Stewart live for us on 285 this afternoon with the big project underway right now. Kevin, thanks so much. In just hours from now, President Trump will be headed over to the United States Capitol to deliver his State of the Union speech tonight in front of lawmakers. There may be some heated accusations from both sides going into the evening. President Trump has a warning of sorts going into tonight's speech. This may go long, so get comfy, buckle up. There's a lot to talk about tonight. A potential war with Iran, a Supreme Court decision that just undercut the president's tariffs plans, and the Supreme Court justices will be sitting right there in the front row of his speech. A Department of Homeland Security shutdown, the government shutdown in that regard, is still going on. And sagging approval numbers, a Fox News poll just out has the president sitting at about 44%. He says the economy is doing well, and he will certainly make that case tonight. We, of course, will carry the president's speech right here on Fox Local and, of course, on the broadcast channel, Fox 5 Atlanta. So we hope you'll join us for that. And then, of course, post-speech analysis. It's been said that a lot of Democrats aren't going to show up for this speech at all. Instead, they're going to hold their own event over at the Lincoln Memorial in response to the president's remarks. Well, from State of the Union to State of the County addresses, Fulton County, that is. They held their State of the County address this morning. Leaders of the gathering this morning included Chairman of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, Rob Pitts. Chairman Pitts' fifth State of the County address since being elected as Commission Chairman.
And last but not least, elections. Our elections are safe and they're strong, in spite of what you might hear, in spite of what you might read. And despite an unannounced raid by the FBI on January 28th, I say with conviction, as I stand before you this morning, Fulton County elections are safe, Fulton County elections are fair, Fulton County elections are lawful, Fulton County elections are transparent, and every legal vote that is cast is counted. The President of the United States has threatened to nationalize elections and take over elections specifically here in Fulton County, Georgia. And even some state legislators are using that to get 10 seconds of TV time every now and then. But let me be crystal clear about that. We will fight any effort to take over our elections with every resource that we have available to us. That's today, that's tomorrow, and as long as it takes to protect democracy and your right to vote. We will.
All right, that's Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts with the State of the County address there, talking about the elections system there in light of the FBI raid and the federal order to seize evidence from the Fulton County election hub. Federal investigators want to look more into the dealings within the Fulton County election hub, how operations work there. So they took out boxes and boxes of ballots and evidence as it related to the 2020 election, something that the president has long disputed and has accused Georgia, the state of Georgia, of mishandling the 2020 election. So Pitts responding to that and the president's calls to nationalize the election process. Security forces in Mexico are on high alert. They're trying to contain cartel violence there after Mexico's military killed a top drug lord. It's a pretty tenuous situation down in Mexico. The U.S. State Department is trying to protect Americans caught in this wave of violence. This after the military there took out Jalisco cartel leader known as El Mencho. Shelter-in-place advisories remain in effect for Americans in the popular tourist destination of Puerto Vallarta and surrounding areas. The White House says no Americans have been injured or killed, but many of them are still stranded as most flights remain canceled. The State Department has set up a 24-hour phone line fielding calls to assist Americans on the ground, but there has been some pretty dramatic video on social media of not only the scene in the airport after Mexican authorities took down that drug lord, but then everyday tourists in their tourist resorts looking at helicopter gunships flying over their resorts. You know, one minute you're sitting there with a pina colada in your hand, the next minute you're looking at this whole violent scene unfold on the streets of Mexico. So Americans there feeling very insecure and are on high alert, but the State Department obviously trying to assist them to get out of that country. The new tariffs are causing some uncertainty for retailers. The Trump administration laid out plans to increase global tariffs to 15%, with carve-outs for trade deals replacing tariffs ruled illegal by the United States Supreme Court. Meanwhile, retailers are operating in the dark. Last year, many raced to stockpile inventory before tariffs took effect. The National Retail Federation calling the Supreme Court ruling, quote, much-needed clarity for U.S. businesses and manufacturers. Meantime, a major company is getting set to sue the Trump administration over alleged financial harm imposed by the president's tariff policies. FedEx is seeking a full refund over payments it made under President Trump's tariff plan. This marks one of the first major lawsuits regarding tariff reimbursements since the Supreme Court ruled last week that the president exceeded his authorities when he used the International Economic Emergency Powers Act to impose tariffs on a majority of the world. Coming up, we're going to check the forecast here. The weather, beautiful work week so far. It is chilly outside, but at least we have sunshine out there. Meteorologist Alex Forbes is going to tell us how long the chilly weather is going to last. Then we'll get the latest on the Nancy Guthrie investigation, with the NBC News anchor offering a new 7-figure reward for information about the disappearance of her mother. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. We've covered a lot of ground thus far here on a busy Tuesday afternoon of news. So glad you're here streaming with us, whether you're watching us at home, we welcome you, or on our streaming app on Fox Local. We're certainly glad you're with us here on the mobile site or on our YouTube channel at Fox 5 Atlanta, TikTok, or on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM. If you're listening to us this afternoon, welcome to you as well. And if you are out and about listening to us, you know it's a spectacular day out there. It's been a clear day thus far. Just chilly temperatures. We've been waking up to temperatures in the 20s and 30s this week. So how long is the chilly weather going to last? Meteorologist Alex Forbes is here to tell us.
After a bitterly cold day yesterday and a cold morning today, we are seeing temperatures rebound this afternoon, getting into the low 50s, but that also is coming with some increased cloud cover and our winds now shifting, coming out of the west-southwest and southwest into the evening tonight. Now, even though it's light, the winds are still strong enough that when you combine the dry vegetation and the low relative humidities, that we do have the opportunity for some high fire danger through the afternoon, so maybe not the best idea to burn things. There you go into the afternoon and evening tonight. There's your cloud cover across north and central Georgia. Temperatures in the upper 30s, low 40s tomorrow morning, and then into the afternoon getting several degrees warmer than we are today. We're looking at low 60s for your Wednesday, but also a predominantly cloudy day. Some scattered showers will be around, that rain chance right around 20%. Here we go into Thursday, still cloudy across north and central Georgia with some passing showers. That will set the stage for a line of heavier showers and maybe even a couple of storms. That's going to be arriving in northwest Georgia sometime between 10 and midnight, and then that will push south down toward the I-85 corridor and toward us here in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. That will likely be early Friday morning. Now, we are looking at the opportunity to pick up some meaningful rainfall out of this. This is the GFS model here. You see a band of an inch plus of rain really right along I-20. Meanwhile, its counterpart, the European model, is trying to throw some more rain our way. Take a look at this. Yeah, as we work our way into the afternoon hours, we would be talking about maybe 1 to 2 inches by the time all is said and done Friday afternoon. And that is the lead up to a fantastic weekend. We saw 2 wet weekends, really the last couple of weekends here in February. That first weekend in February was pretty dry. But we are going to be looking at 68 on Saturday, 72 there on Sunday. Definitely the pick of the weekend there, and completely dry days both days. Saturday, of course, the last day of February. Sunday is the first day of March. Now, this rain ahead of the weekend is some good news because take a look at our latest drought monitor. You see severe drought across most of north and central Georgia, with even that pocket of extreme drought over near Athens. That extends up into the South Carolina upstate, but also down into Upson County, extending back down towards Columbus. And part of the reason we have this is because over the last 30 days, so from the back half of January to now, we have received less than a quarter of the rain that we should have received when you average it all out. And this orange shaded area, which includes most everybody else, that's less than half of what we should have seen through the month of February. So we are going to take any opportunity we can get to pick up this rainfall. Not to mention, February has been a warm month for us here in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. 17 above average days, 6 below average days, including the last 2. But look at last week, right? We hit 79 on Thursday, 80 on Friday. Those 2 numbers were 20 and 21 degrees above the norm. And really, the month has been dominated being above the norm. And it wasn't by a little. It was by 11, by 13, by 10, by 20, by 21 degrees. So when you average it all out at the end of the month, it's going to go down as an above average month with just a couple of cool spells in between now and then. So as for today, average high is 80, or average high is 60, not 80. 53 is where we're headed for the afternoon. 80 is going to be like the end of April, beginning of May. Can't wait for that, right? 54 in Milledgeville today, 52 in Athens, 49 over in Blairsville. In the days to come, we're going to be actually above that average mark, getting up to about 63 tomorrow, 66 on Thursday. That's going to be ahead of our overnight showers and storms into Friday, clearing out Friday afternoon and clearing out for the weekend. 68 Saturday, 72 there on Sunday. Overnight low temperatures not too bad either. We're going to be close to 45 to 50 Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to this weekend. Alex, thanks. Well, it may be warm here, but not up in the Northeast. It is undergoing a wicked winter storm up there. Atlanta Airport dealing with that, in addition to the mess down in Mexico, people trying to get to and from Mexico. That's been disrupted by the country taking out that big drug lord down there and all the violence that's ensued after that. So the blizzard and the unrest in Mexico is causing cancellations at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport to skyrocket. Delta Airlines seeing the biggest impact. Obviously, Delta is headquartered here in Atlanta. Over 70 total flight cancellations and disruptions reported as of this morning. The travel issues follow record-breaking snowfall in New York and surrounding states, where some areas saw over 2 feet of snow. Most of the cancellations, 45, are out of the Northeast, while 22 canceled from Atlanta to airports in the Northeast. So if you are traveling, just be sure to contact your airline. Today's show host Savannah Guthrie says that her family is now offering a $1 million reward for any information that leads to the recovery of her mother, Nancy Guthrie, who went missing more than 3 weeks ago. What a heart-wrenching case for that family. In a video posted on social media, Savannah Guthrie says that her family still believes that her 84-year-old mother will be returned home, but also acknowledged that she could be, quote, gone. Savannah Guthrie clearly looking very, very distressed in this video, saying she may already have gone home to the Lord that she loves and is dancing in heaven. The family also offering a substantial donation to the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Authorities believe her mother was kidnapped from her home in Arizona. Federal officials have shown us chilling video from the night they say Savannah Guthrie's mother was abducted from her home, including a man clad head to toe in disguise approaching the door that fateful evening. Former British ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson, has been arrested and released on bail. British police say that Mandelson was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office stemming from his ties with Jeffrey Epstein. Police confirmed a 72-year-old man was arrested in the north part of the country, but did not name the former ambassador in accordance with UK guidelines. However, we are learning that it was the former British ambassador to the United States, former Prince Andrew, of course, also arrested and questioned last week before he was released. So this case reaching the highest levels, not only of government, but the British monarchy as well. When we come back here, a family is devastated tonight after a fire ripped through their home. We're going to check in with our Annie Mapp live on the scene when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for streaming with us here on Fox Local for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haynes, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, covering a lot of news happening on this Tuesday. Families impacted by a fatal Cobb County fire have spent the day going through the rubble. The fire happened Sunday night at the Concord Crossing Apartments and claimed the lives of 2 children and 2 adults. Just a devastating situation there. Let's get out to Fox 5's Annie Mapp, who's standing by live on the scene with the wreckage of that apartment fire behind you. Annie, any more details about what happened or the status of that family this afternoon? They must be just devastated.
Yeah, it's definitely a very heartbreaking situation for that family. We spoke to them yesterday. We understand the mom was originally from Haiti and had just had a baby not too long ago. Again, we know from Cobb County Fire Rescue's public information officer that 2 children and an adult have died. Again, we spoke to the family. They did tell me that the mother was one of those victims along with 2 of her children. Another adult and child are still hospitalized and are in very critical condition, I'm told from the PIO. Again, this fire happened late Sunday night. It's still not clear what exactly caused it, but fire rescue officials do believe it was accidental and started in that second floor unit that you see behind me. Now, all day today, we have been seeing people who survived this blaze just coming back to this scene, going through their units and seeing if there's anything that they can salvage from those flames. As you can see, some people have been able to recover some items, thankfully. Again, this massive fire broke out around 10 Sunday night. Investigators were here looking in that second floor unit all day yesterday, trying to figure out what could have started this. Preliminary results, again, show it was accidental, but we don't know exactly just yet what happened to cause that fire. It left nearly 30 residents displaced. We spoke to some of those people affected, and they are feeling hopeful. Take a listen.
Getting what we can, because we really ain't got nothing. So if we can not have to go to laundry and spend money, because that costs money. I came to get my washer and dryer and my deep freezer because we ain't got no food. Just stuff that we can use right now. Our lives is here, so everything's replaceable. I'm just, my kids, they ain't even have a chance at life.
And neighbors tell me that those residents killed had only been living in that unit for about 6 months. And of course, now this tragedy occurring has just left a lot of people very heartbroken. We're still waiting to find out more details from Cobb County Fire to see if there's any sort of update on what could have started it, and also on the conditions of those 2 victims. Tom.
Just so sad. Any idea, is the sort of the whole building behind you a total loss, or are there still some residents who are able to stay there?
Yeah, no, Tom, this entire right side that you see behind me is just a total loss due to the amount of smoke damage and water that got in as crews worked to put out that blaze. A few residents that we spoke to today say they have been able to find new places to stay. It sounds like the apartment complex maybe had a few units that were open, so they will be able to accommodate some of these families. The Red Cross has also been working to assist them. The resident we spoke to that you heard from told us that they have been very helpful in helping them get back on their feet. But as you can imagine, it's going to be a long process, as most of them have lived here at least a decade. So a lot of memories lost in this fire.
It's, again, just so sad, devastating for that family, and our hearts certainly go out to them as they mourn the loss of their loved ones. Annie Mapp for us live in Cobb County this afternoon. Annie, thanks. A judge has declined to dismiss prosecutors in the Charlie Kirk case, the shooting of Tyler Robinson. He is on trial for shooting Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson's defense argued that the defense attorneys mishandled a potential conflict of interest. The defense argued in the presence of a lead prosecutor's child at the event where Kirk was assassinated did not materially influence the prosecutor's decisions in this case. The prosecutor telling the court that he believes the child's presence was completely irrelevant to the decisions made in the case, including the choice to pursue the death penalty against Tyler Robinson. So this case very much moving forward in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Non-emergency staff have been told to evacuate the U.S. Embassy in Beirut among growing tensions with Iran. This is something that the president might talk about tonight. The State Department ordered the departure of all non-essential staff and eligible family members. While the department did not state an official reason for the evacuation, the move comes as President Trump orders a military buildup of forces in the Middle East. The president said last week, quote, "Bad things will happen if Iran is not able to reach a deal regarding its nuclear program." Reports say Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard has tightened control over Hezbollah, a terrorist group in Lebanon, as potential U.S. military strikes loom in that region. We have a recall to tell you about tonight. Frozen meatballs sold at Aldi are being recalled for potential contamination. The U.S. Department of Agriculture recalled nearly 9,500 pounds of 32-ounce frozen Bremer family-size Italian-style meatballs due to the products potentially containing metal pieces inside of them. The department issued the recall after receiving a customer complaint that metal fragments were found in the product. The affected products were sold at Aldi stores nationwide and were produced on July 30th, 2025, with Best Buy dates of October the 30th. So the retailer putting out this warning that if you have any of these meatballs, Bremer family-size Italian-style meatballs, either bring them back to the store or throw them away. We have news from the CDC this afternoon as Dr. Ralph Abraham has resigned as the CDC Principal Deputy Director effective immediately, citing unforeseen family obligations. You'll know that the CDC has been somewhat in some turmoil. His exit follows other recent leadership changes as the agency faces budget cuts, staff losses, and policy controversies. CDC being led on an interim basis by Dr. Jay Bachrala. No replacement has been named yet. Scheduling meeting of a U.S. Vaccine Advisory Committee later this month has been canceled with no new date announced. So some leadership activity happening at the CDC. Coming up, we're going to hit an amazing World War II traveling exhibit. It's up at Kennesaw State University, somewhere where you could easily get to see a little piece of history that happened right here in our own state. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Falcons have made a big announcement today with intentions to release veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins in the coming weeks. The team plans to release Cousins on March the 11th, we understand. With the new league year beginning, Cousins' impending release doesn't come as a surprise to many people after being benched in favor of first-round rookie Michael Penix Jr. in 2024. There was uncertainty whether Cousins would be back with the team this past season. We heard from Ian Cunningham, the general manager of the Atlanta Falcons.
Stepping into this role knowing you have to make big decisions, and coming in, you're already doing that. Obviously, today was a big day. I mentioned Kirk was going to be released at the beginning of the league year. Talk about what went into that thought process and why you thought it was good to do it then.
It made sense for us to move on. But out of respect for Kirk and his representation, I just wanted to let them know our intentions now so that they could plan their future moving forward. Just feel like that's just the right thing to do. It's out of respect for him and his career and what he's done within the league and what he did for us the last few years here.
All right, so a big announcement by the Atlanta Falcons this afternoon with Matt Ryan, the new president of football for that team. These changes certainly bound to affect the team this upcoming season, hopefully for the good, as they make some major staff announcements today. There is an awesome commemorative Air Force exhibit in Peachtree City, sponsored by Kennesaw State University, with some amazing aircraft on display and a little bit of history as well. Let's get out to Chris Rosenthal, who is there live for us. Chris, what do you got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm at the commemorative Air Force Air Base, Georgia, here in Peachtree City, surrounded by some beautiful and amazing World War II era airplanes here, where they restore and get these things ready to fly. But they are also hosting a traveling World War II exhibit from Kennesaw State University. And before I get to showing you that, I'm going to introduce Mark Richards and talk a little bit about this Air Base, Georgia here, and tell me a little bit about this place and the aircraft we're surrounded by here.
Hey, Chris, thanks for being here today. Yes, Air Base, Georgia, we're a part of the Commemorative Air Force, which is based out of Dallas, Texas. We're a group of all volunteers that restore, maintain, and fly these beautiful World War II vintage aircraft. Our mission here is to educate, inspire, and honor through flight and living history the greatest generation of all time.
This is a pretty special aircraft here, huh?
It's a real special aircraft. You're looking at a PT-17 Stearman. This was used to train pilots back in World War II. And this is what you're seeing right here is a culmination of 5 years worth of restoration. We got this aircraft. It was in crates and boxes and skids and pieces. And we're about 5 months away from it going back in the air again.
And it's all volunteers working on these aircraft that you have here.
100%, yes, sir.
This one right here, Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah, over here, I'll take you to this Tuskegee Airmen.
This is a trainer for them, huh?
It is. This is a PT-19 Cornell trainer. It was manufactured in November of 1943. It was flown from the assembly plant to Moton Field by a woman Air Force service pilot. In Moton Field is Tuskegee, Alabama. This aircraft right here is the only airworthy Tuskegee trainer left today, still flying, that actually trained some of the Tuskegee Airmen during World War II. So it holds a very, very special place in history.
Speaking of Tuskegee Airmen, let's hold that thought.
Yes.
And let's go take a look at the KSU exhibit. These planes are here, by the way. You guys have these all the time. People can come and they can check them out, and you can even pay for taking a flight on them.
That is correct, yes.
But this exhibit here, this is a temporary exhibit. We're going to come in the other room, and this was it's called Georgia Journeys, and it's from Kennesaw State University. It's a traveling exhibit, and it's from the Museum of History and Holocaust Education, and it highlights 8 different people from the World War II era, some veterans, some homemakers, and some Holocaust survivors. A variety of people here, and that all either from Georgia, or made their mark in Georgia.
Made their mark in Georgia, or actually came back and settled in Georgia after they did everything that they did during World War II. For example, we just were looking at that PT-19 Tuskegee trainer. Hillard Pouncey was a Tuskegee Airman. He joined the Tuskegee Institute, as you can see here, in 1940. He trained at Tuskegee, Alabama. We don't know. He may have flown this PT-19 trainer out here. But he ended up as a bombardier in the 477th Bombardment Group and went on to serve for another 17 years in the United States Air Force Reserve. He retired as a major. Obtained a PhD in chemistry from Syracuse, and he worked for Union Carbide for 30 years, and his wife, Maddie May, was a school teacher, and they retired here in Georgia.
Wow. Let's go over here and talk about Lorenzo Wallace here.
Lorenzo Wallace, here's another real interesting one. Lorenzo was the son, as you can see, of a prominent African-American surgeon, and he ended up going into the Marines, and he shipped out to the Pacific and served in a radar group composed of black and white soldiers. And after the war, he returned to the U.S. and worked for the United States Postal Service, where he became the Southeast Regional Transportation Planner. And he ended up serving as a sergeant at arms for the Georgia State Senate.
Wow. And then Jane Tucker, I mean, fascinating. She was, she worked in the shipyards in Savannah and worked on building ships.
She did. You know, they talk about Rosie the Riveters, and most people think of them as working on the airplanes. Well, Jane here, she actually worked in the shipyards in Savannah and built ships during World War II. Once she completed her work during World War II, she went back to school, got a degree in dental hygiene, and settled in Rome, Georgia, where she was a dental hygienist for 35 years.
Yeah, and of course, we talk about Holocaust survivors.
Yes.
Ms. Schneider here, she was, her family was killed in the Holocaust, but she ended up here in Georgia and ended up in the States and in Atlanta, and her husband was a nuclear engineer, worked at Georgia Tech.
Yes, Georgia Tech.
I mean, it's just fascinating, these stories. I think we got time for at least one more here. I mean, Lavinia Jordan.
Lavinia Jordan, there's an interesting story. Lavinia was from North Carolina. Her father was quite the mathematician. Evidently, he passed that talent on to her. And during World War II, she tested very highly and became a cryptographic analyst. And she worked in the Signal Corps in Washington, D.C. during World War II, breaking code as a code breaker. And after that, she moved to Rome, Georgia. And one of the interesting things about her is she says she counts her wartime service among the many ways in which we got women out of the kitchen.
Yeah, and she still lives in Rome.
She does.
It's amazing, all these people and how they touched, how they touched World War II and how they touched Georgia. I mean, this is kind of cool. I had no idea that Bob Hope actually came
into Toccoa.
Came to Toccoa,
yeah.
And he entertained the crowds there at a Bell bomber plant. So
Georgia is rich in history of everything that Georgians did during World War II to support the war effort. There are so many wonderful museums and places in Georgia that you can go and learn about the history of the greatest generation of all time.
Absolutely, and this place is just kind of one of those places you can come to. I mean, this exhibit here, this is going to be here until March 6th.
Yes.
And this is free. You can come here to the commemorative Air Force Air Base, Georgia, which is in Peachtree City by Atlanta Regional Airport, Falcon Field, and Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Thursdays, and Saturdays from 9 to 4. Everything is free. We have docents standing by to take you on the tours and give you an interactive experience with not only the KSU exhibit here, but also with our aircraft, to get up close and personal, talk to the mechanics, the pilots, the machinists. It's a very immersive experience.
Absolutely. I mean, those planes are really, really something else to see.
Well, we're going to get you back here and get you flying in one, Chris.
I'd love to ride in one of those. That would be just amazing. And I think that's what's amazing to me, is that those planes back there, you guys do get them up and running.
Yes. They're totally preserved and restored to flight status, and we fly these on a regular basis. We have a phenomenal group of pilots that pilot these airplanes. They're dedicated to preserving the history of these aircraft, and they come from various walks of life, being former military pilots, airline pilots, fighter pilots. We just have a phenomenal group of people that maintain and fly these aircraft.
Yeah, and yeah, just seeing the dedication of the folks in there earlier working on the aircraft, maintaining them, that's very, very impressive. Again, come down here to the commemorative Air Force Air Base in Peachtree City.
You know, what I find so cool about this exhibit, Chris, and what a slice of history there, is not only the aircraft that they said, Mark Richards there said they put together, they basically take them out of boxes and crates and reassemble those things, but the information they provide. How fun would that, if you had a grandparent or somebody who kind of lived through part of this kind of history, to walk through an exhibit like that? I mean, and to be able to see these aircraft firsthand must be quite a sight in person.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to see these things in person, to see them up close is, you know, first of all, they're just very, very large. In fact, I'll show you something really, really cool that he showed me here. If you got a second, one of these aircraft on the engine, you're telling me every time they work on this, they put a penny in here, right?
Every time they overhaul the engine, a complete overhaul, whatever year that is, they put a penny in there designating the year that this engine was overhauled. So last time this engine was overhauled was in 2005. Wow. So there's a penny, and it's safety wired in. It's a 2005 penny.
It's amazing. Just all the little details that go into this.
Yeah, amazing. I love the idea of being able to go up in one of those. How fun would that be? Chris Rosenthal with a little slice of history down in Peachtree City. Chris, thanks so much. And thank you for watching us today for the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haynes. Don't go anywhere. The news continues right here, right now.